Here today, we have a very special one. We have Yellow Skunk Farms. This is someone who is doing some stuff that is just shocking the world right now. Everyone is seeing this, and I am honestly super surprised because I've never seen anything like this. That's why I'm very interested to hear how he got the inspiration for this and just where all this came from. So today we have Yellow Skunk Farms. I appreciate your time. How you doing today?
Good, my friend. How are you?
Great. So did you grow up in Virginia?
I did. I grew up about what 2 miles from here.
Oh wow. So
Yeah,
when you
I'm pretty much grew up right down the street from where I live now.
wow, that's beautiful. Did you were you like an outdoors kid when you were young?
Was I outdoors? Oh yeah, yeah. We hunt, fish. I live in the country, so my dad. That's what we did: hunt, fish. Granddad had a little small farm here. That's actually where I live on my granddad's old property. So I kind of grew up on this property that I live on, and yeah, we've been here. Me and my wife bought the place in 2022, and we've been here, yeah, ever since. 3 years now.
Wow. So did you live near the woods, like near a lot of wildlife?
Yeah, I live on a freshwater reservoir here. So
Oh wow.
it's basically drinking water. It's like a big lake or pond, so to speak, that has a dam that's connected to the Chickahominy River. And on this property that I live on is right on that reservoir, but we also have multiple small little creeks that come in from come in from the river. And yeah, so if you walk on my property down in the woods, you'll come up on a little creek system that comes up out of the ground and leads into basically the reservoir.
Oh wow. So that
Yep.
makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Cause like I when I seen this what you have, I was just amazed because it's like such a creative idea. But when you were young, was there any like outdoor hobbies that you had that led you to kind of be a little bit smarter than the average person in this field?
Well, to be honest with you, no, there's nothing like that. This is a collaboration of a lot of different ideas. So basically, COVID hit. So me growing up, I grew up, like I said, my grandfather had a tomato farm. So we had tomatoes, we had a lot of squash and zucchini and basically your typical small garden, but he did tomatoes on like, a couple of acres. So he had his grandkids out there, me and my cousin. We're out there picking tomatoes pretty much all morning. And then we would take them and clean them and take them to market, basically. So that's kind of like how I grew up. But then I moved. My parents got divorced. We moved to the other end of the county. And I basically, just visited my grandparents from there on. This is like, we did this when I was a child. I'm talking like my 10 years old, 11, 12 years old, something like that. And then I moved away a little ways. And then, yeah, I just grew up, did my own thing. I graduated high school, didn't go to college, started a business right out of high school, started a mobile detailing business, actually. So I was a car detailer by trade. And that's basically, I had an eye for detail, so to speak. So I kind of considered myself a little bit of an artist when it came to cleaning, and I'm very particular about things. So I'm a little OCD, I guess you could say. But um, this whole project that you're seeing here is a collaboration of me when COVID hit, and I basically was like kind of scared like everybody and was like, damn, I'm going to be able to, the more scared, I wasn't really scared for my life. I was like, am I going to be able to get my medicine? Like, am I going to be able to go to a grocery store? Like, they shut everything down. And I was like, how's anybody going to get their medicine? Or, if the dealer, whatever, however you're getting it, like, it was just like, I need to learn how to do this. Not only do I need to learn how to grow my medicine, I need to learn how to grow food. the grocery stores real quick can be shut down. And so that kind of set me on a journey. And YouTube, I'm a YouTube university guy.
I
I didn't even know how to grow cannabis until 2020, 2021.
wow.
That was the first time I actually grew a plant all the way through, like, and got it to harvest. And then the first plant I actually did that with, I didn't take it the next step. I basically screwed it up in the dry and cure. And so then, it just sent me on another path. Like, all right, we need to learn how to dry and cure this. Because the first one I grew was out of a bag seed, and I just threw it by the fish pond. My grandmother has a fish pond. It's a small little koi pond here. It's 24 years old this year.
Wow.
I took the bag seed and I put it in a pot, and I stuck the pot. It was just a little clay pot with a bunch of holes in the bottom of it. Stuck the clay pot down in the little soil spot there beside the pond, and literally watched it grow. I would come over here. This is before I actually moved in. I was just coming over here taking care of my grandmother, and my grandmother had to be put into a nursing home. And long story short, we're here now. And when the plant was growing, the roots kind of surprised me when they went into the water of the pond. So I didn't know or even think that cannabis could do that. So I thought it was a terrestrial, land plant, and didn't like a whole lot of water. Excuse me, my throat's all messed up. I took a bong hit before But anyway, I took it. I went on a little journey on YouTube, and come to find out that this plant, a lot of people are growing it hydroponically. They're growing it in dual root zone systems, aquaponics. They're growing it in literally like rock wool. There was just so many. It just blew my mind, like how many different ways people were actually growing this plant. And then I got into basically, I already knew that the pond aspect, because I've had a pond here on the property, basically my whole life when I was growing up. And two and two clicked, I guess. And then I heard about the soil food web, Dr. Elaine Ingham. We went on that journey a little bit. We're still on, this is all new. You know what I'm saying? This project isn't even a year old. It's
Wow.
the first one I've ever built. It's totally just brainstorm a bunch of different ideas and put them together. And then then I found basically the horizontal soil system by Leighton Morrison. And you could look that up. Just look up soil horizons. And if you want to look up Leighton Morrison, he's on the Future Cannabis Project. There's a couple of videos on there, and then he's on the It's All About the Biology show on Mondays at 5 o'clock.
Can I ask you this though? Because I kind of want to bring it back a little bit.
Yeah,
When you were young, did you have any negative thoughts about the plant? Were you ever like kind of like worried about ever trying it when you were young?
I first smoked when I was 16, and I haven't stopped smoking since. So I could probably count on one hand how long I've been days wise without smoking since I was 16.
Well,
So
yeah.
that gives you an idea.
Yeah, so
Like,
you never went into it with kind of like with a hesitation.
no, no. The first time I ever smoked was with a good friend of mine. We were, in high school, of course. Just got my driver's license. Out the door. I went and picked up my buddy. My buddy knew this cat up in Richmond. Long story short, we got some blunts and rolled up the blunt. First time I smoked, I really didn't get high like most people. It didn't. It didn't really affect me.
Oh wow.
But the second time it really affected me and it really slowed for me. I'm a little, like I said, I'm OCD. I didn't go to college. I did horrible in school. Um, I'm pretty much dyslexic. So if you don't know what that is, I can't read very well. I can read, but I can't read in long terms and I can't recall what I read.
Yeah,
So basically, I when I read something and then try and take a test, I fail the test every time. It's
it's
guaranteed. It would take me five, six, seven times to pass the test.
would you say though it's kind of selective learning in a way? Because like I think that
Yeah,
some people
yeah,
have what they're passionate about and they're very adaptive to that. Like they're very good at like being they'll sound very smart when they're speaking about their thing, but then when you put them into like a different field, it's very hard for someone that has that selective learning. Like myself, I didn't do good at school at all. I
Mm.
dropped out. I just was not really good in school. So it was like something that I had to kind of like get my patience before I was able to actually figure out what I was going to be good at and still learning.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's I mean for me, it's kind of the same thing, except I guess like I was always super focused on certain things like in school. Like I took catering class.
Well,
Like I was the best cake decorator in school. So
that's
if
a
that gives you an idea of like what I was doing, like that was where I was very detail oriented, but only in like hands-on things.
yeah. That is a
You
cool
know,
thing to have people doing in school though. Have things that aren't going to just be only in the books, because that's like one thing for me. I was like very I was always worried about like what's going on outside of school. So like when it was just all books and shit, I wasn't able to give my patience at that time. But now looking back on it, I wish I paid a lot more attention. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, of course, yeah. Hindsight's 2020.
Exactly.
And the like it's really, for me in this whole journey for me, like, like I said, I started my own business when I was 18, right out of high school.
Wow.
So I've always been driven,
Yes.
just not into books. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like I've always known in the back of my mind that I was going to make money and I was going to be successful and I was going to get to a point where it was just like I was just going to retire early and do this and do that and set yourself on that path, but there's a lot of obstacles along the way and you really have to learn how to think strategically along the way. And if you can learn how to think strategically, and what I mean by that is thinking ahead, like stop playing checkers and start playing chess. You know what I mean? Like think ahead. Great chess players think not 5 days ahead, but 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years. What's this decision? What am I going to do today that's going to affect 5 years from now, not just 5 days from now? You
I
know,
I've heard you say basically rushing nature won't pay off, but if you don't rush it, you'll be rewarded.
correct.
Yes,
It takes time.
it does. It's one of the
It's
learning that
yeah,
is the journey too, you know what I mean? Because it's I don't think anyone is just gifted it, you know what I mean? You have to like kind of go
no,
through those trials to be able to figure out how to maneuver through it. And that's like why I've
correct.
been so impressed with what you're doing, is because it seems like you almost know it all, which is like it's crazy to say that when you just told me that you've only been growing for this short period of
Yeah,
time compared to most
I've got
people.
3 years experience with zero college education.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell people that I'm more of an inspiration. That's what I want to do. I want to inspire people, and mainly because it was very difficult for me. Like I don't come from money.
Yes. Yeah.
I lived in a single wide trailer from the time I was 19 till I was 41.
Oh wow.
Okay, so that's where I'm coming from.
How old are you now?
49.
Oh wow, yeah. That's like it's a blessing though, because like a lot of people don't see how long it takes or see like the journey, you know what I mean? And that's why I think documenting it and doing what you're doing is it's so cool to see because you daily document all of these different changes of the plants and you get to show the people like there's a lot of things that could go wrong, you know what I mean? But if you do it properly, it can all go great.
Correct. For me, in that aspect, it's really about the foundation. So
Yeah.
I base everything off, like I said, strategic thinking is basing is just foresight, basically. It's seeing something, it's setting something down and going, all right, by me setting this down, this is going to do this, and then this is going to do this, and then this is going to do, and then the chain reaction is going to lead to good things. These are the decisions that we need to make early and then work towards that, goal and fight through all those little changes that happen. And believe me, this whole system here is a 100% learning experience for me. And just to let you know that this isn't the last one that I'm ever going to build. Like this was just an experiment. This was like, can this be done type of thing? And can I make it work in a small area? And if I can, then that's great because I'm planning on building a house. I live in my old grandparents' this house that we live in now is my old grandparents' house. So it was built in the 40s, 48.
Wow.
So we plan on we live on 6 acres here, and we're going to build another house down by the water, like closer to the reservoir. And I'm going to I'm going to build a house around one of these. So that's my plan. So this is just kind of an experiment to see how I can do it and if it can be done. And it definitely can be done, and it can be done very well. And there's a lot of changes that I would definitely make in building another one. And that's why I built this one, is to learn and so that I can incorporate the goods and the bads and then really get a good feel for how to actually do this and do it successfully every time. Because this isn't just about, growing cannabis anymore. I love the plant. It's all about like, it's really, but this has gone to another level to where I didn't realize that, a lot of people and a lot of farmers have water problems. And that's one of the main issues with soil biology
Yeah.
is actually the water that you use and how that water is actually uptaken by the soil. So that it just opens up. I just can't even explain in 1 hour or two in a lifetime probably how important the home, the foundation of everything is. If the stronger your foundation you build, the stronger you're going to be in the long run. You're going to last a long time in life and in general in anything you do.
The first
So it's like it's really about this whole system is built on basically bedrock. Okay, so it's a slab of concrete, but in my mind, it's bedrock.
the first big mistake that I've ever made was overfeeding. I just thought that I would be able to like give it enough water each day where it would be able to like balance it out and I just way overdid it where I should have
Yeah.
just played the long game in a way, you know what I mean?
Well, what do you grow? See, now this is a totally different style of growing. This is what I've always put when I talk to people, especially on, people like yourself who are growing. What are you growing in, by the way? Are you in pots or bag or 4x4?
Well,
Or
at the current moment I'm not growing. I was when I was in Massachusetts.
okay, well, whatever. What were you growing? Like,
Just soil in pots.
okay, so most people are growing in pots, 30 gallons, 15 gallons. I've seen people grow in a solo cup all the way through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like get a plant a cannabis plant to actually go to bud and all the way through in a solo cut. Now,
I've
how is that? And then I wanted to know personally because I didn't know. I was like, how is that possible?
I've seen that too. I've seen people like where they do like the one miniature one, you know what I mean? Like they do the
Yeah, yeah.
it's almost like the what is it, that little tree that Mr. Miyagi would always trim. You know what I'm
The
talking about?
bonsai,
The
yeah, the
bonsai.
bonsai
Yeah,
tree.
it was like a
Yeah,
bonsai, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
it is amazing. I don't know how people do that because it seems to be like you would have to have like a perfect measurement of water and like a perfect like you probably have to do that a few times, at least a few times, you know what I mean? There's
Well, yeah,
probably some
to
trial and
do
error
it
there.
right, yes, but it all starts with the roots. I can tell you, it all
Yeah.
starts with the roots. So, y- I guess the best way for me to put it is that I started in a pot, like I was in a 10-gallon, and then I went to a 15, and then I went to 30. These are all grassroots living soil pots, okay, or bags or whatever you want to call them.
Could I ask one question? Has it always been organic or is it organic what you're doing?
Yeah, this is natural farming. This is as close as I could get in my mind to actually bringing outdoors indoors and doing it successfully without the pests, without the overwatering. This bed is all about water. Obviously, it's got a pond and a creek, and the issue that this is where I was getting to with the pots. Okay, so like growing in bags or pots or whatever, there's an issue here where you've removed everything from the earth. Okay, how it's supposed to be done, and you're putting it into a non-soil environment because most people are putting their plants in what they call, and I use this in quotation marks, living soil. But then when I open up the bag, all I see is perlite and peat moss or sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and then a bunch of amendments. And then they'll dump in a little bit of some mycorrhizal spores and call it living soil. And I'm just like, that's not even close. First of all, it's not even soil. It's it's a growing medium, is all it is. They basically went to a peat bog up in Canada, cut out a bunch of peat moss, which is, in my opinion, bad because it takes thousands of years to do that stuff. And that's why it's highly regulated. But anyway, you put that stuff in a bag, then you have to add amendments. Okay, you have to add all these, feather meals and bone meals, and it just blew my mind that people were actually doing that. I was like, holy cow. I was like, they're calling it a super soil. And I was like, what? You don't even have sand. You don't have any silt. You don't have any clay. You don't have it's sand, silt, clay. From what I understand, I'm no soil scientist, but from what I understand, sand, silt, clay, organic matter is soil. Soil is created from granite rock, from from organic matter. You know, water, dissolves rock over time, and that's where all this mineral comes from. I'm looking at these rocks right now. I've got my hand on this big granite rock. It's just a granite rock that I use to edge the whole bed. So it's granite that is what the walls are made of in this bed. So that alone, this granite alone, when you continuously over the thousands and thousands of years are watering this this rock and mineral and the biology is breaking down this rock. You know what I'm saying? And that is the mineral release that I'm getting into the soil. And then I add the sand and the silt and the clay from the creek bed and mix that with broken down organic trees. Like you just go out in the forest and find a nice rotten tree and it's just mush and you can just break it and bend it. You can break it, turns to dust almost. All right. That is organic matter. That is what soil is made out of. And I realize a lot of people don't know, especially in the cannabis world, when they're going to the stores and they're buying these bags and they're buying these bottles and they don't even know how to read the back of a bottle. And that was me. That was me. I went to the grocery stores and I was buying bags of soil and I was just asking the grow guys, like, man, and it was like it was like going to the grocery store and looking for your cereal that you want. And you got to go down the cereal aisle and there's just nothing but different boxes with different names on it and different, gimmicks on it, but
And
they all got the same shit.
they
Just
all
in
have weed killer in them.
well, they all got the same stuff. They're just in
Yeah.
different forms and in different variations.
Yeah,
So to speak.
well, the glyphosate, that's like in a lot of the different cereals and shit, and it's something that a lot
Yeah,
of people would not know unless you a lot of people don't have the patience to learn these different things, and I think it's gonna be basically only done through humor, sort of. It's like one of those things that sometimes the best way to educate someone is by making them laugh while you're telling them it. And
hundred percent.
when it comes to like topics like this, I sort of feel like that is a necessary way of distributing the message.
Yeah, well, that's another thing with this. Like, like, when I was scrolling, so I got on Instagram. I've only been on Instagram for this will be coming up on 2 years.
Well,
And when I was before I even got on Instagram, all you got to do really is, go to one or two, and then the algorithm just points you in that direction. You know what I mean? You'll just start seeing all of it. And everything I was seeing was the same. Here and there,
different.
you've got some different people doing different things, but all in all, they're all doing it the same way, other than the aquaponics guys and the hydroponics guys, and But if you're growing in soil, you're basically going to the grocery store and you're getting a bag, and you're basically growing in peat moss, or coco coir, or whatever it is. I mean, there's all kinds of things out there. I wanted to be in the ground. You know what I mean? That's where everybody, all the pros, all the people I listened to that were high up in the industry were like, living soil is the shit. Living soil is the shit. And then I was like, okay, well, if living soil is the shit, why aren't you growing in soil?
True.
And I
Everyone,
was like,
it's all like kind of a scheme in a way. I've noticed there's a lot of jars that say living soil, but the people will never show you their grow.
well, and it's one thing, to put the biology into that medium,
Mm.
okay? That's fine.
Is that
Then you can,
possible?
sure,
Hmm.
it's possible. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm putting biology in this bed all the time with the lactobacillus and the EM1. These are all effective microorganisms, and that's how this thing works. Like
Oh,
when you break.
I think I misunderstood that. I know what you mean now. Yes, I basically you adding all these different insects and different plants into it to sort of like
Not insects, not insects. No, we're not. Those are beneficial insects that we're adding, but when it
yeah,
comes to the plant and we're talking about the soil. Like the soil has its own microbiome. All right, so picture your guts. All
yeah.
right, this is a great way to get you to understand, because I actually explained it to somebody the other day, one of my friends, face to face, and he was like, "Dude, that's yes." I was like, "Okay, let's go." You grow food, okay? You have a garden and you grow a tomato plant, and that tomato is grown from that plant by the organisms that are in the soil, okay? And the soil, the microorganisms that you have in the soil breaking down organic matter, where the minerals and the rock and the sand and the silt, this is where all those nutrients and minerals are. It's what we're made out of. All right. From dust, if you're biblical, from dust to dust. You come from it, you're going to go back to it. So once you put these two things, once you put this together, it's like, oh shit, damn it. it all connects. We all connect together. One by magnetism, by electricity, by there's just so many different aspects of it. But the basics are simple. The basics are there's biology in the soil, breaking down organic matter, sand, silt, clays, and releasing this to the plant. Then that plant takes that nutrient and pushes it up out of its fruit so we can take that fruit and eat it. Now, how do we get the nutrient out of the fruit and turn it into energy so that we can now move our limbs and use our brains? Well, we have to chew it first, all right? And it goes down this little tube called our esophagus, and it goes down into our guts. And in our guts is a microbiome, the same, pretty similar microbiome that's in the soil. So the same process that is breaking down nutrients in the soil for the plant to uptake to put into its fruit so that we can take the fruit and take that nutrient from the fruit to digest it, to get it into our bloodstream, to then turn that fruit basically into energy. So it all boils back to energy, the sun, because all forms of energy on this planet come from the sun. So photosynthesis, the plants have figured this out over billions of years that the plant can take the sun and turn it into energy. It can photosynthesize those light waves that are coming down from the sun, and due to our atmosphere that the earth has, can block out a lot of those harmful rays. It allows the plants to photosynthesize and turn light into sugar. And then that carbon, that sugar, that CO2 is pushed down from the veins of the plant down into the soil, feeding microbiology. So there's an exchange system going on here. So the sun, the plant's fruit, we eat the fruit, we get the energy. It it's that simple. Now
Would
it's a
you
lot more complicated, but in the basics, that's what's going on.
could I ask this though? Would you say that that's basically the reason why some of these things that are grown in maybe rock wool don't actually have any terps? They kind of come out like cardboard. Would you
That's
say
exactly why.
yes, because I've not always wondered it because it makes so much sense when you actually look at rock wool. If you actually see like a structure made out of rock wool, it literally will keep the sound in. I'll try to clip in the video right here.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It like it traps sound in it. It's way more
It's crazy.
effective. Yeah, it's way more effective than like some of these different like studios and stuff. It's cool. It's very cool to see because there was this like big event place where they had this structure made out of rock wool and the people would
Yeah.
walk through it and it just like completely soundproofed it. It was amazing to see, but it was like also disturbing to see because I know there's so many growers using this as their medium and it's obviously something that's like very much going to not give you anything that's like good to smoke. You know what I mean? In my opinion, at least. I think there's a lot of people who would disagree, but there's also a lot of people who wouldn't know why they disagree, I guess.
Well, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but in the salts versus organics, it's that a lot of people will tell you, and I've heard this go around, that the plant doesn't know the difference between the nutrient out of the bottle or the nutrient that's given to it by the microorganisms. And I'm going to call bullshit
Yeah.
on that because the plant is a way more intelligent than we give it credit for.
Just like
Okay.
ourselves, just like our bodies. If we eat cereal, we're gonna feel lethargic, we're gonna feel slow. If we eat fruits and vegetables, we're gonna feel a lot of energy. We're gonna feel ready to go conquer the day.
Well, now here's the thing about that. because this is where, this is in government right now, that, the Health and Human Services, RFK,
Hmm.
uh, that's basically what he's talking about. You're
Exactly. Yeah.
talking about being able to go out and eat fruit, okay, and get nutrient from that fruit. All right, now here's the problem. The fruit is grown in zero nutrient dense
Yeah.
soil, or whatever it's grown in.
Yeah. True.
There's no nutrient. Go to the store and get me a tomato that tastes good,
It
that
tastes like
has
air
flavor.
now. Yeah.
It doesn't taste, it's because there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
There's water, and that's it.
A lot of these different things, like I've noticed most bananas, they just have they taste like air. It's like you're eating nothing. It's
Yeah,
amazing because they used to be like super effective. If you put it in a smoothie or something, you'd be able to taste it. And
yep.
now it's just like nothing. It's amazing to me because like a lot of the different things go over a lot of people's heads. And I have to admit, like one of the big reasons why I ever really started paying close attention to all this stuff is because I have diabetes, and I got it at such
Mhm.
like a weird age. I got it at 13, where it's like most people get type 1 diabetes when they're born or whatever. But I think it
Mhm.
was like so useful to get it at the age I got it at, because it opened my eyes and got to show me like there is stuff that's out there that can actually make you feel really good. You know what I mean? There's stuff out
Oh,
there that,
absolutely. It's all in what you eat, man. You are what you eat.
yes,
Now, the problem is that what we're eating, even if we think we're eating good, which
yes,
is what the problem is, we're not eating good. We're
exactly.
eating no new food is what I like to say. It's no newt in it. It's just water and some very little newt. But you got to eat 8 apples to get what one did 100 years ago.
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean? That's
very
just the
true.
way it is.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very much like across the board too. It's like you can't really go to any of the states in America right now and have like an easy time. There's a lot of trash. You know what I mean? So it's like you
Yep.
might as well just grow your own at this
And you
point.
know what? It's so effing simple to fix.
Yes,
It really is. It's so easy to fix. It's just the problem is that people are stuck in their ways. Really, we have most farmers in America right now are in their 60s, and they're just not willing to change. You know what I mean? We need a younger generation of people to come in and say, "Hey, stop tilling your fields, bring in organic matter, compost, plant trees on your farm and in your fields, okay? And then grow your crops around these trees. Grow your crops in this organic, rich, nutrient dense soil. And the way you do that is by sequestering carbon, basically. Is what it's all about. Carbon now. Carbon. You got to hold your carbon. You're releasing too much carbon. Well, the reason you're releasing too much carbon is because you're tilling the ground. You're literally stripping it and releasing that gas, that carbon, CO2, up into the air because you've tilled your garden, you tilled your farm, releasing it all. Pretty simple. But if you were to cover it with and grow a crop, okay, this is where you'll start to see cover crops coming in. In cover crops, we chop and drop, or we just bend them over and plant right into them. And this as when you bend them over, the microorganisms in the soil will grab a hold of those leaves, eat it, and break them down, turn them yellow, and break them down into nutrient dense soil. So everything that those grasses uptake out of the soil is we're just going to put it right back in. And over time, over about 3 or 4 or 5 years, that layer builds and builds and builds. And that's where all the nutrient, all the biology, all everything lives in that top 6, 7, 8 inches of that soil.
do you
And
think
we
that
depleted it. We just come in and till it all, disc it. Once we disc it, we plant in it, and then we rotate, and we do the same thing over and over and over again, and it's just not good. And we're releasing all that carbon into the atmosphere, And it's so easy to fix, but yet nobody wants to do it.
Do you think that one of the big issues is profit, though? Do you think that it's less
Oh,
profitable?
100%. Oh, it's yeah, it's I mean it's capitalism at its finest. It's all
Yeah.
started back after World War II. You know, it started a long time ago. But
Well,
there's been a tremendous change. You can see it on some charts on go on YouTube and look at NASA's charts on how the climate has just from the 1940s till now has just steadily gone hotter and hotter and hotter.
I think this is unfortunately something that just always happens in, I guess, yeah, in a capitalistic place, in a place where it's always people are fighting to have the next product. It's always going to be people cutting each
Yeah.
other's throats to make it cheaper and make it more accessible. So it's like definitely something that promotes poison. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah, in my opinion, and this is a humble opinion, but it's like I said, easy solution, very hard to do. It's kind of like
yes,
war, you know, it's always an easy solution, but nobody wants to fucking do
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to give or take, you know what I mean? So it, the solution to it all is to basically make the farmer rich and the banker poor, and you solve all the problems.
How do you
So,
think
because
that's
if
done?
it's going to take a government basically to step in and I hate to say that because I'm not a government dude.
Yeah.
You know, I'm as independent as they come. Like I'm registered independent. No, I really don't like taking orders from anybody. This is why I've been self-employed, you know, since I was 18. Not that I haven't worked for other people, and I can work for other people. I'm just saying that in the long run, in the long game, I wanted to be my own boss. So it's going to take people like me to push other people like you to do things like what we're doing, basically growing and teaching other people, spreading the message that, hey, if you have a garden, stop tilling it. All you're doing is releasing carbon into the air. So if you're an environmentalist or if you know if you care about the earth, you want to cover her. You know, stop cutting down trees. The first thing you see when you till, the first thing that's going to happen, Mother Nature wants to cover herself. She's going to grow grass and weeds. That's the first stage. And then from those grass and weeds, you're going to go into the shrubs and bushes. That's the second stage. Then you're going to go into the little bit bigger shrubs and bushes into some trees. And then you're going to get into the forest and the old growth forest. These are stages, okay, that happen when you don't fuck with her. When she's allowed to go to the old growth forest stage, it's beautiful. Everything
So
works.
are you saying though, like these stages are all just done in a protection? The Earth is doing it to protect itself?
Correct.
That's
But
very interesting to look at it like that. That's because,
where she's because she's hot. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? The sun is hot.
So would you say that's your thoughts on the Amazon?
Well, any desert, any Amazon, the Amazon is like, you know, you have different spots on Earth that have different climates. You know what I'm saying? So you have to
Yeah.
look at this as in a strategic way.
Mm.
So if you can see and break everything down, there are, you know, there's an equator, there's a middle line there where it's really, you know, tropical. And as you break away from that center line, things change. You know, they're like in stages. We have different zoning zones, farming zones for a reason. You know, it's your job to learn the zone that you're in and then plan accordingly, you know, to what you're growing. See, everything in my bed indoors here comes from right here on this property, other than the cannabis, of course. But the cannabis we've grown all over the place. But the dog fennel, the elephant ears, the grasses, all these little trees and shrubs that I have in here all come from here,
Well,
not from anywhere else. You know, so they're adapted and they grow very well here.
So that's interesting. You haven't like ordered anything, you haven't like brought anything in from like a store or anything. It's all just like completely natural.
Well, I will say that the lucky bamboo that's in the creek, I brought that in because I like that lucky bamboo. It
It's
has
a
no
cool looking thing.
relation to bamboo at all. It's just I mean, it's just uh, a kind of a pretty plant that they put in aquariums. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen. I was actually watching a video of that earlier, so I'll piece that in. I'll show that right now for the people. I was interested to ask you about that because I was like gonna say, does that play any like beneficial factor?
No, not well.
Okay.
Other than roots, other than throwing roots in the creek.
Kind of makes a
That's
little bit
that.
like a more does it give it like any like toughness? I don't know if that makes sense, but like does I does when you bring in something that makes the how should I word this? Like when it brings in like some sort of rough factor, does that help it in any way? Does it make it like more outdoorsy? I don't know how to like word that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. No, when I bring it indoors, like I said, this is like I said, this is an experiment.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
true.
I was not sure what was going to happen, but I also knew that I had acquired enough knowledge and enough friends on this situation. Like I said, there are people involved here, not just me. This was inspired by people. I built it by hand. I will give myself credit. Like I thought it up, I dreamed it up. I did everything. But those were put into my head by other people. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think this up. I didn't think of using the horizontal soil system. I didn't think about using the sand, silt, and clay in the creek. These were all ideas that were given to me by other people. They didn't know it at the time. I
Yeah.
was just listening to them, but I've come to know these people. You know what I mean? Like Leighton Morrison, like I'll be on his show in a couple of weeks. I've
Oh
talked to
well.
him once already, and yeah, great dude. Marco is growing. Marco Brown from Marco is growing. Huge inspiration. He has a similar grow, not like this, but he's in a 4x8 kind of box.
So
Um, yeah,
is there anyone that you've seen that is doing it like this? Like
no,
because this
no.
seems to be like I've seen this one video on YouTube before where this guy had this room in his house that was like a whole like jungle type thing where he actually
That's
had.
Ants Canada. Yeah, Ants Canada.
Oh
You seen
yes.
Ants Canada?
I believe that's it. It was amazing when I seen it. I
Yeah,
was just like
yeah.
it's crazy, but it's like
Another inspiration. Dude's a master at what he does. I
yes.
mean,
It's such a cool idea because it's like I don't know, when I was young that I always like dreamed of like having like some crazy thing like that in my house, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
having like
yeah,
but I always dreamed about having like a swimming pool type thing. You know what I mean? Like a
yeah,
swimming pool type jungle thing. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
like
I know exactly what you mean, man.
you took it to
Yeah.
like the coolest to the you took it to a cool way. I it was very surprised when I seen it. I was almost like this seems like it's AI generated.
Well, I appreciate that, but I've had a saltwater aquarium for years. I've had
Yeah.
freshwater pond outside, but the saltwater aquarium is a whole nother beast. But that having that experience also gave me a lot of ideas for this. You know what I mean? Because it's really in the saltwater world, you have a sub tank underneath your main tank.
Mhm.
So in a freshwater aquarium, usually you just have a hang-on filter and it just filters the little box on top. Well, in a saltwater aquarium, you have a whole nother tank, basically. The size, a little bit smaller than the one you have all your fish in, but underneath that is where all your biology is cycling. basically. So you're filtering your water through that biology that you're growing in your sub tank, cleaning it, and then sending it back up to your aquarium.
Well,
Well, this is a similar situation where I'm taking it and pumping it up a mountain, dropping it back down to create that airflow, to create that drop. You know, each time that water hits, it's creating oxygen and falling into that creek. And then the creek just flows on down. Now, the more roots that are in the creek system, the cleaner the water gets by the time it gets back to the pond. So basically, the creek is my sub tank or is my filter box for like my fish aquarium. So that's where the creek comes into play. And I just followed nature from there. Like I mimicked nature. The biggest problem, now this was not without issue. You can go back in my Instagram and see that I fucking struggled with this. And at one point, like I had it all built and it took me 7 times. Remember I told you that it takes, like it'll take me 6, 7 times to pass a test?
yeah.
Well, that's what this took. It took me 7 times to figure this out. I literally filled this pond up and ran it, sucked it all out, ran it again, filled it all back up, sucked it all out, filled it all back up, sucked it all. I did that 7 times before I figured out what was really going on and why the soil pockets were flooding so bad. You know, I was getting too much water in the bottom of my reservoir here.
Was
So
was the answer that there wasn't enough plants, different other things feeding?
that's part of it. That's just one aspect of it, yes. But the other aspect of it was the actual sand and silt and the organic
Right.
matter trapped in the sand and silt. Okay,
Oh,
so when I go down to the creek here and I shovel up a little bit of sand and silt, put it in a bucket, what I'm doing is it smells like a swamp. Okay, it's basically a swamp.
yeah.
It's coming up out of the ground and all this organic, all the leaves, everything from the trees. I'm in the woods, so this where this stream is coming out. I'm in the woods, and all the organic matter has just been piling up for thousands of years. So when you stick a shovel down the ground and it's like a suction, it's like, and you shovel it up, and it's like stinks to high heaven, and like the first 4 or 3 inches is just black organic matter, and you see worms running all through it, and big worms, little worms, and then you go down a little further, and it's like sand or like a silt almost, silty. It's very fine. Uh, and then you get down a little lower, there'll be another little gray layer of organic matter from you got to think years back, hundreds, maybe even thousands of years it's taken to build these layers. Okay, so every winter leaves fall, then they come back and they fall and they come back and they fall. Just think thousands of years it's taken for this to build and build and build these layers in this sand and silt. And
Well,
that organic matter is sitting on top. So when I put this stuff in a bucket, I got to bring it back up here. And in order to get that smell out of it, that smell is bad biology. Okay. That's gases being put off by the microbes that are eating all the funk. And once they've eaten all that organic matter to the funk, that turns into sand, silt, and the clays, and all this other organic matter that's layered in the earth down here by the creek. So what I got to do is filter that stuff out. First, I take it and spread it out on my driveway here, and let the sun cook out all the bad stuff. So in about a week, the sun will cook out all that bad smell, all the bad biology will be cooked out by the sun. So the sun is like, a natural disinfectant, basically. So then I shovel all that back up and I used that in the creek. Well, come to find out, there was too much organic matter in that sand and silt and clay mix. There was too much organic matter. And where I had it coming up over the creek's edge, it was wicking up a tremendous amount of water into my soil beds because it's the organic matter that's wicking the water. Okay. So sand doesn't wick water. Sand is diuretic. You pour water on sand and water just runs right through it. Silt is a little smaller than sand. You add silt to the sand, it becomes a little denser and it will hold a little bit more water, but not much. Now you add the clay to the sand and the silt. All right, now you're cooking. Now you're holding a lot of water. If you add organic matter to it, now it's a wicking machine. Now it will hold water, and wherever you lay it out, it will pull that water from wherever that source is coming from. Okay, so in this case, it's the creek, and I just figured out how to layer the organic matter on the edge of the creek and into the soil bed in order for that water to be wicked up over the creek wall and into the soil pockets. So once that water is being wicked into those soil pockets, it's then distributed naturally by the organic matter and by the organisms and by the critters and by the roots. Okay. Once they're there, so the more roots, the better it gets. So that was the secret behind not having to water. So that's what this whole thing is about. At the beginning, it was about how to solve my water issue. Like how do I kept going hydrophobic in my soil beds.
How did you come across the solution of using sand though?
Well, that comes from Leighton Morrison.
Oh
That
wow,
that
okay.
this comes from the Soil Food Web and Dr. Elaine Ingham and the Soil Food Web and Leighton Morrison.
Wow.
So I was listening to his show because Leighton's into composting and he's also into aquatics. So he has a business called Kingdom Aquaponics. So he was growing aquaponically and he was using fish shit to basically feed his plants. I don't know. Do you know anything about aquaponics?
Not a lot actually. I do not want to.
Okay, no problem. I'm just going to quick explanation. Aquaponics is just where you take a tank, basically. So
Yeah.
take my fish pond, and I plant a plant, or basically I build a box, and then I run a tube out the fish tank up into this box where my plants are, and I just have like just picture lava rock, okay, a bed full of lava rock.
Hmm.
You're going to pump that fish waste water up into that bed of lava rock, and that's where you're going to plant your plants. So usually your plants are in like a piece of rock wool or something to stabilize them, or a pot or whatever, and you stick that down into the lava rock, and then you pump that fish waste water up into the bed, and you basically flood it, and then you drain it. So you flood and drain, flood and drain, flood and drain all that fish waste. And it depends on what you feed your fish, and it depends on what kind of fish you have. So they've been researching this for a long time, and they've come to find out that it depends on what type of fish you use, what type of food you use or you feed, depends on what type of shit you get out of the fish, which in turn determines what type of nutrient you get to your plant. Okay, so I took that concept and said, I can do this with a creek the same way I can do it with a flood and drain table, except I'm going to use the sand and the silt and the organic matter as a regulator. So the organic matter that I get in the sand and silt is my regulator for my water. So the more organic matter I have in the sand and silt, the more water I get. The less organic matter I have in the sand and silt, the less water I get.
Yeah, it's very interesting. That's a very useful thing to do, and it seems to like play into each other very well. It's the whole thing seems to flow beautifully now, and it's something that you can see gradually over time, the way that you structured it all. How it
Yeah,
like it wasn't
and
definitely it wasn't perfect at first, you know what I mean?
no, it was not perfect at first, but I knew that the foundation was strong. So
Yeah.
anything I did on top was not going to harm the foundation. That's the whole point here. That's strategic thinking. Okay, that's something that I was born with. I've always had it, but it is something that can be taught, and I can't stress enough. You can actually YouTube a ebook, or it's a book that's written to you by AI actually nowadays, but it's called shit. I just had it in my head. I can't. Strategic thinking, of the art of strategic thinking, and that will really open up your eyes and your mind to understand how these things get done. You know how master chess players become master chess players.
Yeah.
You know, this is a process. Some people are born into it. Some people just have it. Me, I'm graced with it. I've always been able to see what was coming ahead of what was going to. I could just see it.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened. It just does. But anyway, it's something that can be taught and it can be learned. And I highly recommend everybody get into strategic thinking, because that's, if you're depressed, it'll help you. If you're not depressed, it'll help you. It'll help you in any situation and anything in life. From poker to golf to your hobbies to your business to your job to life in general. It'll change your life. I promise you.
I'll definitely add that
So
to my list. It sounds similar to books that I've read, like The Art of War and stuff like that. I can imagine are on like a similar path as that.
the art of war is based off strategic thinking.
Really? Yeah, that makes
100%,
sense.
100%, 100%,
Yeah, that makes sense. Because it is like a
100%,
very I mean, like it is like I can imagine those go hand in hand, you know what I mean?
100%, 100%.
But let me ask you,
Yeah, go ahead.
do you only use LEDs in your grow?
Yes.
So when it comes to LEDs, what is your opinion on LEDs?
My opinion is they're awesome and they save you a ton of money. And in this type of grow, I could not use anything else.
Really?
They make it possible, yeah, to do something like this. And mainly because of the heat that they don't produce.
Have you ever thought have you ever thought about doing a mix of HPS and LED ever?
No, because I can get the same spectrum. I can get the SPS spectrum without the heat with these LEDs now, these Grandmasters.
That's fair.
They have a they have that spectrum. That's what's great about this tuning lights. I have 4 channels that I can. I mean, it's an endless amount of damn options that I have. I can adjust so many different ways, and that goes into a whole nother aspect of growing and how light works and how light affects all this stuff in here, and how I don't have a LED light over the pond. You know what I mean?
Why
Like,
not?
well, because that's going to cause a lot of algae, and
Right.
ponds don't really need a lot of light. They need that offset light. You know what I mean? That light wave, that low light wave, basically, that's very, I should say, I call it soft. I don't know what the science calls it. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
I'm self-taught, but um, that direct sunlight, that direct light, is what's going to cause algae. And this is I'm proving this right now in the bed by looking at this dog. I can lift up the dog fennel from where it's covering the creek, and there's zero out. It's like just as clean and crystal clear as you could possibly be. But then I come over here to where the light's hitting it, and bam, algae.
Would you say
Which
that's why swamps have a lot of algae?
Well, it's, these are this is photosynthetic algae. So what I mean by that is that this algae is photosynthesizing sunlight. And it's where it's getting its chlorophyll, and
Hmm.
it's actually bubbling up on the edges. And this
Really?
algae is good algae. This is the good stuff. This is why I keep telling other people who keep sending me messages, hey man, you get rid of that algae. No, 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 no. Algae is part of it. It's food for everything. So all I do is pull this algae up and lay it on the edge of the creek, let the worms run through it, take that little bit of poo, all these worm castings on the edge of the creek are full of life. And you just take that, put it in your extract or whatever. I don't have to do that, but I just take it and sprinkle it on the bed. I really, all this stuff is incorporated into, so it's incorporated into the system now. So what I've successfully done is merge terrestrial with aquatic. So that line, there's a line there, okay, where if you go anywhere on a creek system or in the mountains and you walk around, you're going to see a line, and there's a very distinct line actually where plants thrive and they don't thrive. There's a line there, and on that line where this biology meets, so you've got aquatic biology meeting terrestrial biology, and it's kind of I'm still learning. Like I said, I'm still learning this, and I'm still watching and observing. But what's happening is that the sand and the silt and the clay that I have that's coming up over the creek out of the creek system is turning into soil. It's literally turning into rich organic soil. I
Oh,
mean, I can pick it up, and it literally have turned sand into soil. I
oh.
mean, I can pick it up, and it literally have turned sand into soil.
Can I ask you a question? How can you describe how like the turtle and the certain different useful insects are able to actually be useful in the whole project?
Sure, yeah. The turtles are my basically my main characters in here. They're the top of the food chain, so to speak. All right, so they're the ones that are going to eat the dead fish when they die. All right, so that's an important process in the soil food web. So picture a soil food web as just your typical your everybody as a kid learns your food pyramid. So I'm thinking about your food pyramid. You have a food pyramid, or you eat a balanced diet, and if you follow this pyramid, you of a balanced diet, you'll get all the nutrients that you need. Well, the soil food web is sort of the same thing. It's a web basically. So you start at the top. So we would be at the top, humans. We eat and we shit and we go on down the chain. The dung beetle will then eat the shit, and then the dung beetle will shit, and then something else will come in and eat its shit, and then this is a staged process where everything is eating everything else's shit and dead bodies. So there's more dead bodies in my soil than I probably have life, because these are dead carcasses of all the other life that came, after what's there now. So you have to understand that this is living soil because it's being reused over and over and over again, allowing this biology to build layers. All right. So we're building layers of biology. We're building this, and it's breaking down, and I can't explain it to you in science terms, but I can layman's terms it to you all day. It's just the same thing I talked about earlier, where we take the fruit off the tree, we eat it, we shit. Most people don't use human shit to fertilize their soils, but it can be done. But we're using other things shit. We're using horse shit, cow shit. all this is shit that's coming out through that biological system that we have in their guts and coming out and fertilizing things. Just like the buffalo would roam the prairies, and the prairies would be so bright and green because the buffalo were shitting and pissing on it all day long. And, that's basically how it works. There's a system, a cycle here. So the turtles are the top of the food chain, and then we go to the big fish, and then the little fish, and then we get up into the creek where there's shrimp and there's clams and there's snails, all the way down to the microbiology, to the worms, to the arthropods, to the nematodes, to the protozoa, all the way down to the bacteria and fungi. And the bacteria and fungi are basically the last on the toe. The bacteria is what's really running the show here. So the bacteria is pretty much in everything, and it is everywhere. But what kind of bacteria matters? So I'm using lactic acid bacteria that I make here myself, and it's super simple to use. It's called labs. It's lactic acid bacteria. You just use rice wash water. So the water that you wash your rice in before you cook it, you take that and you put that in a jar and you cover it with a paper towel and you let it sit for like a day. And then the next day, after the 24 hours, you pour some milk in there. And you let that sit for like 2 days. And a cheese will form on top. All right? It'll be a white cheese that'll form on top. The liquid underneath that cheese is lactic acid bacteria.
Huh.
And all that is a rod-shaped bacteria. That's what lactic acid, it's a rod-shaped bacteria that's beneficial and breaks down organic matter. So this bacteria is good for humans, it's good for animals, it's good to break down what's left over in your digestive system, basically. Okay. I'm using that to break down what's left over in the creek system. So this is how I'm getting away without a filter box. All right. I'm using lactic acid bacteria directly in the creek. All right. And that over time is going to build up and basically clean the excess poo that's left over that the roots and everything else don't take up. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that actually does. It makes a lot of sense. I just I would love for the people to like be able to make sense of it. So I think that that was a great way of you breaking it down for them. And I do want to ask one more thing about the insects. What is one that would really surprise the people that's in there?
Uh Man, the wasp. You got paper wasp.
Really?
Yeah, the paper wasp is like, basically the paper wasp is like those red wasps. The ones you see that make those paper like moche like type huts in the corners of everything.
I think I know exactly which ones. Those ones do sting too, though, right?
Oh yeah, they sting like shit. Yeah.
So have you been stung?
No, I ain't been stung, but I'm watching out for them.
Yeah.
But then
One of these days.
I'm also breeding black soldier flies. So I'm
Really?
actually breeding black soldier fly larvae.
Huh.
Yeah.
So,
So black soldier fly larva is like one of the best organic matter breaker downers in the world.
well,
So what that's doing is breaking down my IMO 3 and 4 and 5, and that's all that I put back in here. So I make my own compost. If you don't know what IMO is, that's a natural farming technique, and it's indigenous microorganisms, IMO. And there are different stages to this. It's basically like we're composting, but we're not using shit. And that's the easiest way I can describe it. I'm basically making a compost that is vegan.
well,
That makes sense. I'm not putting in any type of unless it's rabbit shit, like a cold manure. Okay, so you can use like a llama or a rabbit. These are cold manures that come out the butt cold, so they don't have the harmful bacteria that comes out with some other poos, so to speak. So when we make IMO, I'm basically going out into the woods, and with that rice that I cooked with the lab, I take that rice and I can put it in a sock, and I can take it outside and put it in underneath an oak tree, and I can wait 3 days, go back out, grab that sock. That sock, man, that rice will be full of biology. Everything that was around that oak tree, biology wise, is now going to be eating on that rice. Those yeasts and all that the stuff that's in the rice, they will be attracted to it. Now you have all that you have indigenous microorganisms from around your property that you can now take and culture. So I can take that, put some brown. Now you can skip IMO2 if you want, but IMO2 is just adding sugar to the rice I just collected. Brown organic sugar. And all that's going to do is make it shelf stable to where you can then take it and put a little scoop, like maybe a little spoonful of it in your water. Okay, so you take a little spoonful of that, put it in a bucket of water, and then water your compost pile. So this is going to, you're basically introducing the biology from around that oak tree into your compost pile. And most of the time, that biology is fungal because around oak trees, there's a lot of fungal diversity. You see a lot of mushrooms around oak trees or hardwood trees. So this is when they talk about there's a difference between bacteria and fungal. So when you get too much bacteria and not enough fungal, too much bacteria can lead to hydrophobic soil or hydrophobic growing medium. I'll say. So, and what I mean by that is that you're basically just using bacteria in the soil to break down things, and that's not all that's needed. You need the other element, which is the fungal aspect. And once you add the fungal and you get these ratios correct, the nature takes over. All right. I'm just a steward. You're just going to be a steward at that point. Now your job is just to maintain, is just to add, just to keep feeding the soil, so to speak. We're feeding the biology because it's constantly eating 24/7, 7 days a week. It's constantly. It never ends. It never stops. They're constantly eating and reproducing and dying. That's reproduce, eat, die, reproduce, eat, die. That's how it works. So once we add these different elements, diversity. So when you start hearing about diversity in your soil, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about adding bacteria and fungal diversity to the soil. And this is going to unlock those nutrients that are trapped in the sand and the silt, in the clays. Okay. So it's the biology that is releasing those nutrients to the plant. The plant, in return, takes the sunlight, turns it into sugar, and sends that sugar down and pushes it out of its roots to feed the biology so that the biology can then turn around and mine whatever it is that the plant needs. So then it's an exchange system. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
All
have
right. So that's
I have a question about the well, I don't want to cut you off. Uh
no, yeah,
what is the so the hole that you have at the towards the bottom that is like there to help you know if it's flooding? How did you come
correct.
up with that idea? Was that you mentioned before about the aquarium? Oh, I said aquarium. The well, the you had an aquarium, right?
I used to. Yeah, I used to. I had one for years. Yeah, I
So
don't have it anymore.
that was like the whole that's like the whole backstory of that that whole
Not
system.
no, not the hole here.
Yeah, because I
So
seen that video and I was like, that's a very smart way of doing it because it looks like it is great for you to know if you ever are gonna run into some major issue. I can
yeah,
imagine like flooding it could be very bad if it really did flood over completely. So it's like something to keep monitoring at any moment you can, probably.
yeah, correct. That in my head, I was, strategically thinking that this whole bed system sits on a 1 inch plane. All right. So when I built it, I knew that there was going to be a lot of water, and I knew that water's got to go somewhere. So that's where the horizontal soil system comes into play. That's where the bedrock is the is the floor. Basically, I'm on a slab of concrete here. So the slab of concrete is my bedrock. And then up from bedrock comes the rock, then comes the pebbles, then comes the sand, then comes the silt, then comes the clay, then comes the soil. All right. So the clays, the sands, and the silts, excuse me, all come, you know, all are above the reservoir. So the reservoir is basically just rock with pea gravel filled up. So you have a big chunk, you have a oversized, you have a big rock, then you have little rock, then you have little rock till you fill it all the way up to the sand. Does that make sense?
I think
That's
yeah, it's very it's hard to really like kind of like imagine just like over audio, but I can kind of like think of it as you're saying it. It's like very it seems like it would. How did you like think of that to do though?
that was Leighton Morrison.
Okay, wow. Is he
Mhm.
so he like what's his setup look like?
He doesn't have a setup. He's just he's just a citizen scientist that
Wow.
does aquaponics and does has Kingdom Aquaponics. He's a soil scientist. He's worked with Dr. Elaine Ingham. He's super intelligent, super smart when it comes to thinking outside the box.
Yeah, very
He
creative.
basically he basically brought the horizontal system to the cannabis community. He was like, look, guys, cannabis can work like this. You can actually set this horizon up just like, this is soil science 101. If you just go to soil science and horizontal, just go to any soil science. I mean, it'll pop up, boom, and you'll see the layers. It's bedrock, small rock, bigger rock, big rock, small rock, all the way till you get to the top. So all I did was create that layer for that soil to set on and not penetrate down into the reservoir. So this is all about keeping the soil out of sitting water. Okay. So when soil sits in water, what happens? You get a swamp. You get fungal, you get disease, you get fungal smells. It's bad.
Gnats.
It goes anaerobic. Okay,
Yeah.
it can't hold air. You know what I'm saying? So it's really about air. Uh, I say it's really about air. It's about a lot of things. The basics, though, the basics are really just keep that soil out of the water. Let the water, I can sit here and water my soil all day long. It doesn't matter. Just like it could rain for a week outside.
Yeah.
You're going to get some spots, but for the most part, it's going to drain on away. It's going to fill up the holes. It's going to go to where it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? But in here, indoors, in my head, that water has to go somewhere. And it has to be so the whole floor basically before I put the box down, the sandbox to put everything in. I put the floor on a 1 inch plane. So I just used concrete for this. I just layered out a little layer of concrete over the floor, and I made the floor 1 inch plane down to this bottom corner down here where the hole is. So when water is flowing over the creek wall and into down into the soil system and keeps on going, it ends up flowing down to this one spot. And this is where the hole is, where if it does get to this point, which in my head it shouldn't be, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be filling up because it should be getting absorbed by the soil and by the plants. Well, at the beginning, I didn't put two and two together. I didn't realize that with the plants gone, no plants in here, and a ton of organic matter lining the creek walls, that all that water was being wicked up, going over the creek wall, rushing down to the reservoir and filling up my hole. And I couldn't figure it out. Like that's what I was baffled for almost a month.
Originally, when you first started, did you have intentions of adding in all these other plants?
No, no. A lot of this stuff
Oh,
in here just came in by accident, just from the IMO that I collect from my, out here. You know what I'm saying? So everything I collect around my property is all around these trees. It's all around. I'm just going around nitpicking in the woods, foraging the
wow.
material that I want to inoculate with my biology and then compost it in my bins here, okay, and then put it in my bed. So I would never, ever in a million years go out to the woods, gather up a bunch of wood, soft wood, bug-ridden wood, and
Yeah.
just put it in my bed. That
Yeah.
that doesn't work. No,
No, yeah,
we
that
have to.
that'll lead to problems.
That's where people are messing up. See, they don't want to do the extra work, or they don't know to do the extra work to compost this stuff first. So I'm bringing everything that I put into this bed gets brought up to at least 100, 110, 120 degrees for 3 to 4 days. All right. And then I do that 4 times.
Wow.
So that's IMO 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So IMO, if you're into natural farming, you can just look up natural farming. I recommend Chris Trump on YouTube. And you will have your mind blown, first of all. But IMO 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is just us going out to the woods, grabbing biology, because nobody feeds the forest. Okay, nobody fertilizes the forest. Nobody's out there throwing kelp meal. Nobody's out there throwing blood meal. Nobody's out there throwing amendment. The forest just grows.
What do you think about
Um,
the like the kelp meal, or like
Kelp meal is great. I love kelp, but if you want to go a little cheaper, you can go alfalfa. Alfalfa meal is just as good, and it's readily available in your area, most areas anyway, because it's grown around here. Kelp has to come from the sea. It's got to be shipped. It's got to be. There's only a couple of spots on the planet that it's clean. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
actually clean. But there is a good source, and a lot of people use kelp. I've used kelp. I have a bag of kelp here now. I use gypsum,
Oh
so
well.
I still buy things. I'm not against buying anything. It
Hmm.
just has to be,
From
I'm trying to get away from as much as I'm trying to close the loop to the point where I don't. If I had to, I don't have to buy anything. You know what I mean? Like if everything shuts down, if shit hits the fan, I know probably we're going to lose power and this whole system indoors is going to go to shit. That's fine. But in my mind, I can go outside and plant a fucking garden and do it without anything. You know what I mean? I know I have the knowledge now to actually grow food and grow it to the point where it's nutrient dense and it's sustainable. You know what I mean? Like if the shit hits the fan and nobody has power and all this stuff, it's all fun and games until that happens. You know what I mean? And COVID kind of did that for me. You know, I was just like, holy shit, damn, they can shut this shit down quick.
Yeah, they can. That's the scary thing about it. Is like it's something that is very wise to plan ahead right now, and obviously
I think so.
prepping the way that you do is definitely going to be very useful. Let me ask you
Yeah, I
this
just
though.
wanted the knowledge. You know, I just wanted the knowledge. You know, this is all fun. This is all great.
It's very
I want
it's yes, it's very like the education is power. You know what I
to
mean? You have
exactly, exactly.
that's that's something that I can definitely see with like what you're doing. And is there any vegetables
No,
in the
I don't
garden?
have any. No, I don't have any vegetables in here. I told my wife, you know, in the next one we build, like when I build a house, that one's going to be pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
I have it in my head where I'm going to have basically cannabis in the basement and a food forest up in the living room.
Have you ever thought of mixing them?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I
You
feel
can
like
make it. The only problem with that is that cannabis is on kind of a different schedule than a lot
yeah.
of things. You know, so cannabis is kind of, I've learned that you want to keep it separate
Do you think that
because they're,
there's I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Do you think there's a possible way of like you maybe not having it like super big, but having it in a way where it's going to be separated where things could kind of feed in a different way?
What you mean as far as like the creek system?
Yeah, like basically like where it's like running like whichever one needs to feed more, it's running like towards that one and then the one that gets hit on the end is like the one that doesn't have to sort of. I don't know if that
Yeah,
makes
that's, you
sense.
know, yeah, that would be strategic thinking. So that
Yeah.
would involve, you know, knowing what you're growing. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like, so I could, I could, if I knew the have or, you know, knew how the plant's going to grow, if I know it's going to stay short, I know it doesn't need a lot of light, and I know it doesn't need a lot of food, then sure, I can plant it over here, like, you know, as far away from the creek as possible.
Yeah, because I feel like
You know?
it could like bring some extra nutrition to the whole thing if it had like actual vegetables or fruits growing in
Oh,
the same
sure, sure.
area.
Yeah, like comfrey. Comfrey is a great plant to plant with your cannabis.
Yeah,
Comfrey.
it'd be really cool
But
too, because like I could imagine documenting that would be very interesting for the people to
yeah, yeah.
watch along with.
But but comfrey, unfortunately, in this type in my in here, it gets big. It gets crazy. And
Really.
it's extremely evasive. It's like these elephant ears, and that's the reason I kind of went with the elephant ear, is because, excuse me, it has that huge leaf, of course, that's photosynthesizing a ton of light, but it's also covering my creek, so I can push these trees in a way that I want to where those big ass leaf can cover my creek and keep some of that algae down in places that I don't want algae. You know what I mean? So if I was to plant like a pepper plant or a tomato plant, they get out of hand quick. Like these cannabis plants, like I could only do, or I would have to designate the whole side over there just for my peppers or like my tomatoes or whatever I was growing. But in my future plans, all these things will be separated in a much bigger creek.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the creek is not going to be bunched up in a 12 by 9 frame. It's going to be stretched out throughout the house. It'll go up, down, it'll go around, it's going to go outside. There'll be a pond outside. Uh, so yeah,
Let me ask
it's going to
this.
be, it'll be kind of crazy and cool.
Could you ever imagine having any animals in it?
Other than like the aquatic ones, no, because mainly because the animals destroy shit.
True.
They get in the damn plant like lizards and shit like that. They want to climb everything. They'll be breaking buds and they'll be breaking shit, breaking my trees. So it's best just to keep
Yeah, lizards are very
like,
invasive.
yeah, maybe a frog, might be in the works.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But the frog he's crazy too. He splashes a lot. He's freaking weird.
I can imagine frogs like being like a an odd one to have in there because like they also I don't know they if they could probably knock down a plant as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, depending on which ones you get. Like, I'm thinking about maybe a tree frog. You know what
Oh,
I
those
mean?
ones would be, yeah, like a little small one could be dope.
Yeah, yeah, something like hang out on the Monstera over here.
Because
That would be pretty cool.
when I was thinking of that question, I was thinking I'm like, is there any like type of bird, anything that could be not harmful to it, but almost helpful?
I wish I could think of one, other than keeping one in a cage. You know what I'm saying? Like a
True.
parrot or something.
Yeah,
But
because I was thinking I'm like, if you went full like jungle theme for something, it would be very interesting. But I know that would be probably extremely hard to keep up with. It would probably be a
well,
very
yeah, that. But I have been thinking about just putting like a little sound system in here and playing bird songs because especially in the morning.
yeah.
I've heard quite a few good things about bird songs in the morning and how it wakes up the plants and how it wakes up everything and how it sends vibrations through the air and
It's very good for
just
people too.
yeah,
It's very good.
this stuff gets so deep. Once you get into this farm, like that's what I was trying to explain. Like once you deep dive into certain things, like it gets holistic. It's
Yes.
very holistic. This thing is I built it for my mental health. You know what I'm saying? It's not just for the cannabis. The cannabis is for my mental health. And I just wanted to build something that was good for my mental health. And I don't have children. Me and my wife don't have kids. So this was my, little hobby that I've been doing. Kind of got out a little I guess. My wife was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "Just wait, check it out." Because she was like, "You keep bringing home rocks. Why do you keep bringing home rocks?" So I was just like, "Just wait." I was like, "You're bringing home rocks for like 10 months now. How long? When are you going to stop bringing home rocks?" So I was like, "Just hang on."
She's probably so amazed at it now.
Now she's like, "Holy shit! I'll never fucking second guess you again." And da, 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 da. Of course, I built a sign one time for her. She owns a yoga studio here in the county, and I built this sign, this yoga sign. It's pretty crazy. It's made out of a coffee tree, and I took some. If you know what a coffee tree is, it's kind of spiral. It spirals together.
No, I don't think
You
I've
should
ever
look it
seen one.
up. You'll have
I'll
to
add one
look
in right
one up.
now.
Yeah, look
I'll
up a
let it, yeah.
coffee tree. And I took that, and I took some old lumber from her grandma's old barn that she had over at her grandparents' place. And I pieced that together and I hung an old timey little bracket off of the coffee tree and hooked it up. And it was pretty cool. And she was just like, "Holy shit, that's like art." And I was like, "Thank you." And then when I did this, like I said, I was a car detailer. I've always been a little OCD, so I need things to look good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and when I see something out of place, I'm like, But in here, I've tried to train my mind to get out of that habit because it's not a bad habit, but it can be. It can get overwhelming sometimes. And I didn't want to be that way anymore. And so this trained me to like, okay, nothing in nature is perfect. You know what I mean? Like, it's not supposed to be perfect. There's going to be problems. There's going to be some disease. There's going to be these things that you're going to have to tackle. And you're just going to have to figure it out. And this is where strategic thinking comes into play. And this is where, like, thinking a little bit ahead can help you, but thinking a long way ahead can actually increase your chances of success. And what I mean by that is like if you can think of something, think of an idea, and then try and put those steps, I should say, in place to get to that final idea. So these are like there's a just like these stages in this growth, like there are stages to this, there are layers to everything. Everything takes a little bit of time. You can't expect to just jump right into this. This is 4 years of grind. I mean, you talk about somebody who, like, when I tell you I'm OCD and I'm, a little ADHD and dyslexic and I can't read, all these things, man. That's where this comes from. It is those negative things that pushed me to this point. By having those negative, what other people call negative things, I don't consider it to be a negative. The OCD thing, just in my mind, I was tired of like, oh, I got to fix this. I got to, my toothbrush has to be, right here every time. If it's not there, then I'm not going to have a good day. That is what I'm talking about. Like those types of things would send me into like this bad day persona. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if something wasn't right, it would send me in this like bad mood type thing. And I wasn't violent or anything. And it was just in my head. And I
Yeah.
couldn't get it out of my head. It was just kept, how can I slow this down, basically? And this slows it down. It's always been the cannabis that slowed it down to the right cannabis. Then once I realized what I was, this is years of smoking, but I'm not talking about when I was a kid because when I was a kid I was stupid. I'm talking about like just in the last 5 years, I've actually made it a point to learn what I'm smoking. It's actually treated as a medicine, not just something to get high with. And this comes with age. That's all that is. Because this wouldn't be happening if I was in my 20s. Because I was immature as shit in my 20s. That's all I want to do is party and smoke weed. That was it. But I digress.
Was what strains are you running in your grow?
Well, we got a bunch of cool stuff. We got Verdi Skunk from Luda Whitcomb. Yeah, sure. I got
Huh.
her Verdi Skunk is a Chili Verdi times Alpha Skunk.
Who's that bred by?
Luna all day. Luna Whitcomb.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever heard of them. Sounds
Go
very
to
interesting. I've definitely heard of the first one that you mentioned, the Chile Verde. I've had that one at least.
the which one?
The Chile Verde, is that what you said it's crossed with the Chile Verde?
Yeah, yeah. Chili Verde times Alpha Skunk.
Yeah,
She called it Verde Skunk.
I've had that one, the Chile Verde.
Mhm.
It was definitely interesting. It was like a very like a fruity, doughy type thing.
This right now is definitely got, you just said that doughy, and that rings a bell. Yes.
Yeah, I was surprised because that's not what I was expecting when I grabbed it. I kind of was more expecting like some like fiery, like peppery type like sauce type thing. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Well, I mean that's like
uh,
that's what you would expect from the name, I guess. But
yeah, yeah.
the the fruitiness that I got from, well, the fruity doughy like almost like dessert type thing I got from the one I had was just very surprising. But it was also like a little bit like it had times where it wasn't exactly that. It was a very strange strain, to be honest. I don't know if it was just like the one I had, but I've noticed that with like a lot of different ones. It's basically how it's grown. You're gonna get such a different reaction out of it.
Yeah, that's one thing that I have definitely noticed. And this is only the third run that I've done in this bed.
Really.
But yeah, third run. So this ain't even a year old yet. So this
Have
it'll be a year old January 17th is when I turn when I say a year old, I turned the pump on and let the water flow, and I haven't shut it off.
Wow.
So yeah, since January 17th. So I've been growing in it. This plant's been in it since like December 20th, December 19th, somewhere around in there. Um, so yeah, we're coming up on a year.
Has it always been the same strains in there?
No, did something different every time.
What'd you
Different every
start with?
time. Started with some OK Calic, um, OK Calyx Cherry Grande times Peach Pistols. Then I
Okay,
had some Marco is growing. I had his Divine Pine, which was my favorite.
really?
Yeah, Divine Pine, man, that shit was fucking. Oh, I,
So
that
that's
shit
what
was like candy, dude.
what are you into? You're into like are you into more candy or gas?
You know, I uh I like I love the gas, but I have to say that here recently, the more strains I'm coming across with the gassy fruit, so to speak. This I've got Great Gushers times Peach Pit. This is another OK Calyx uh, strain, and I'm telling you, he's got some stuff going that is just, I don't know. It's
I definitely would agree with you on that. Like a fruity gas compared to candy gas. I would say like the candy gas can get a little bit too overwhelmed with the candy and it turns the gas into a diet version of it. But like I've noticed like the fruity ones can be very powerful and will pack the taste that a lot of people will really be chasing.
yeah, you know, I enjoy the fruity gas, but I did before I had this grow, when I was growing in my bags, I grew a meat breath,
Really?
and that meat and that.
That's probably just pure, just like
Hello, still there?
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that meat breath.
It's probably
Holy
just
shit!
pure fire almost, right?
Yeah, it was just straight gas. It
Yeah.
was just straight fucking just holy. You put anybody I opened that jar to, they were like, "Holy shit!"
That is like the thing. It's like a lot of people are almost they almost get turned off from stuff like that, and that's more my speed. I more enjoy stuff like that because the actual medical benefits of stuff like that is much easier to see. You can see that there's like
Yeah,
some cool effects when you smoke some of these candy things, but it's more social strains in a way. They're more like someone said it to me the other day. They're more like an elixir or I forget what they called it. They a seltzer, whatever the fuck it is. Those
yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? Like those like party drinks. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
So it's like that it's like it makes a lot
Like a
of people
syrupy, like a syrupy sweets.
yeah, it makes a lot of
Yeah,
people like very happy. I can totally understand why a lot of people love candy and the whole like wave with candy makes a lot of sense to me, but I do think the tides are turning in a very cool way. People are very much chasing actual new experiences now, and I think that that is very very cool for me to see. I love seeing that.
yeah, yeah. Well, I personally, what was I getting ready to say? Oh, I had the pleasure of smoking the real skunk in Amsterdam in 1999.
Wow.
So me and my buddy went to the High Times Cannabis Cup in 1999. Spent 10 days in Amsterdam. Did the whole routine, judged a bunch of shit. Fucking went into this one coffee shop, this little hole in the wall that this one guy told us he was actually trying to sell us drugs out on the street. And that was big out there. They'd be like ecstasy, cocaine, all that shit. They'd be trying to sell it because they knew we were foreigners.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I was only 22 at the time, I think. 21. But yeah, we went. He was like, "Oh, y'all want good weed?" He's like, showed us where to go. We went in this little hole in the wall called. You'd never have, it didn't have the flashy signs or anything. Went in there. It's like, "You got the good stuff? What kind of good stuff you looking for?" And he pulls out this tray, this like box, metal box, opens it up, slides it out, and he opens up a jar. He's like, "Oh my God, it smelled like goddamn, like literally like he opened up and just sprayed a skunk." And it literally like immediately was like, holy, it was so pungent. I took the bomb. He had bombs all over the damn place. So he had bombs like basically where liquor would be. He had bombs.
Yeah.
All right. So took a bomb off the shelf, packed it up. I smoked it. It is the only time I've ever in my entire life. I'm still chasing it to this day. That I've actually felt real cottonmouth,
Really?
like actual fucking. There was a cotton ball in my mouth.
Are you a fan of OGs?
Yeah, oh, I love OGs. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
OG.
When I'm talking about like, I thought it was laced with something. You know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah.
that kind of fucking cottonmouth. Like my tongue was swollen. Like what's going on here? Like
That's
cocaine. Like I just dumped a bag of cocaine on my tongue. Like holy shit. That alone, that it was only took one hit. And me and my buddy Dave, we considered ourselves heavy smokers at the time. I
I
mean,
wonder
5 foot bongs, all that shit.
I
It was
wonder
crazy.
what type of skunk it was. Like if it was like like there's obviously like there's different cuts of like everything, you know what I mean?
Yep,
So
yep,
I
yep.
I wonder which one got over there. You know what I
I
mean?
don't know, but all I know is that he said that it was skunk. It smelled like a skunk. It smoked like a skunk, and I've never seen it again. And I, it, I've talked to quite a few people in around the community, and nobody seems to be able to find what I'm talking about.
Which
So I think it's been bred out. Like we were talking about how everybody likes the candies, and all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that skunk flavor, that smell, is probably just long gone.
Well, I think LEDs and candies mix very well. You know what I mean? I think some of these older strains that were a little bit rougher around the edges were very good with HPSs or maybe even good with street lamps. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
they were good under these weird conditions and they actually were able to shine. And I think that
you're
in
correct. Yeah,
in a lot of weird situations we see people saying that like they still have sour and maybe they do, maybe they just don't have it growing in the same crazy environments that they had it growing in before, because there was also this whole theory that chem and sour are the exact same, well, not the exact same, they're phenos.
same
and
thing. Yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah. It
the,
makes sense. It does make sense.
I've always wondered, is skunk a pheno of that as well? Because skunk is just up that alley as well. Like it's this soury, funky, just off-putting, crazy thing that would only make sense to come from that same family. So it's always like a lot of those things I sort of think at that time they were so similar but a little bit different that it made a lot of people label it different, and
Yeah,
then the history over time just became so blurred. Just like now, like people are calling gelato gumbo, they're calling it dumbo, all these different things, you know what I mean? And they're leading people to believe that it's different when they have it all in just different bags, it's packaged different, and it just leads a lot of people to be confused.
well, that's why it all tastes the same, right?
Yeah, it's all the same, it's all just terrible, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
bad, but it's like it's also like just kind of necessary in a way, because it's like a lot of people have to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? And I do truly believe going through the journey of a consumer, like you get to see the all these different things are very, very different, but the only way you get to see that is by just going through it. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
have to experience it to know it. If not, then you
100%.
have to
I
be
agree 100%.
yeah, if not, you have to be very open-minded. You have to be very open-minded to be able to piece together the data between all these different voices and do it like a field study like that, which is much more complicated. I think it's probably better to learn on your own almost, which is interesting. It's something that I do think is very fun about the game too. But let me ask you one thing. I is the yellow skunk farms basically like a play off of that? Was that like the strain that really opened your eyes to the higher level of this?
Yeah, the skunk. I mean, the skunk aspect. I mean, that's always been in the back of my head. Like I've always, like I said, chased that skunk, chased that, and I truly believe that most people, like especially young, if you weren't in the '90s,
Hmm.
like are there close, you've probably never smelled it or smoked
Yeah.
it. Because most people that say, "Oh, that's skunky as shit," and I'm like, that ain't even close.
Yeah.
That's not even close. So yeah, for me, the yellow skunk. Um, to be honest, that name came from the first strain I grew. The first strain I grew was like for real. Like um, grew this strain and then grew this strain and then I merged. uh, This was by accident, by the way. So one was a male, one was a female, of course, and we bred the two. I'd taken the male out of the tent, but somehow pollen had gotten through the duct system and filtered down into and pollinated my daddy fat sacks from Nerds Genetics. So daddy fat sacks is from Nerds Genetics, and it has a skunk number one in it.
Wow.
And also, no, I'm sorry, it didn't have skunk number one. That has the shit. Um, is that the AK? Oh, Blue Dream. It's Blue Dream, the original Blue Dream, and I believe AK-47 cross. And don't hold me to that though. But then there's another. The male was from Yellow Hammer Genetics, and it was his uh, blueberry skink, which he had skunk number one and blueberry. I can't remember the name of the blueberry, but it was a strong blueberry crossed with a skunk number one. When I crossed those and I grew a couple of those seeds, one of the plants I got, once it got all the way through flower, once it got to the last week, I had like the top main bud on that plant get so big and it turned this weird looking yellow leaf type thing. And unlike most fades, like you get a lot of fades in the leaves, and sometimes they turn a little yellow. This one turned like a freaky brown, like yellow. And I was like, damn, that's a freaky ass yellow skunk right there. And boom, there it was. I was like, yeah, that'd be a good name, yellow skunk.
Yeah,
And
that's was that the name that you ended up giving the strain?
yeah, that's what I'm gonna name the strain yellow skunk. And I got basically just named the whole thing yellow skunk,
Yeah, the whole
the brand name basically.
yeah, that makes
So
sense.
I got a website coming, and we're gonna sell t-shirts and uh, got some IMO that we're gonna sell. Got FAA we're gonna be selling. I got a bunch of stuff.
I mean, eventually you should figure out some way of doing either like some sort of like well, I mean, like a documentary would be very cool, but like also doing some sort of thing where you teach people how to set the thing up because that is, I can imagine something people would pay you to do. A lot of people would be very interested to have this
Yeah.
in their
Well, I've
works.
been offered. I've actually had quite a few offers already, and I've
Really?
turned them down. I've turned them down mainly because I'm not there yet. So, so this is still an experiment, You know what I'm saying?
Not to ask names, but was it any of these big guys?
No, no, no big guys, no big names. Actually, a couple of people I didn't. They're just random people.
Really? Well,
But yeah, yeah, just one. But I'm not teaching anything right now because it's so experimental right now, and like there still could be problems. Like nature takes time, so
I
I'm gonna
think
at least let this
that's like
run
one of
for
the
a
big
while.
things people like to watch too, though, is like you seem to be very open about speaking about any of the flaws. Like I remember you speaking about the what are those leaves called? I'm blanking on the name. You just were speaking about it not too long ago. Those big leaves that you said they're very invasive, sort of.
Yeah, the elephant ear.
The elephant ears. So those they got
Hmm.
like some sort of fungus issue before, right?
Yep, yep, yep. And that comes from too much water.
Yes.
So so those roots. So those are trees. Those are actual trees. So those roots go deep. So when those roots go down in there deep, the biology hadn't gotten down there yet. So basically, the only thing down there that was there was disease, you
Wow.
know? So we had to get the good biology down there to start battling the bad biology. And once we balanced the system out, um, yeah, the fungal disease goes away. Everything the pest issues go away. Most all, you're not going to believe me, but most all pest issues start in the soil. Like almost every single one can be solved in the soil. And the reason I say that is because they have these things called bricks, and it's the sugar content in the leaf structure of the plant, and this comes from nutrient dense soil. So the more sugar you can get in your leaves, the more sugar you can get these leaves to produce, the healthier the plant is, the more disease resistant, the more pest resistant it is. Pests don't like healthy plants, they like sick plants. So the pest is going to be drawn to the sick plant every time. So if you can get your soil right to where you got a healthy ass plant that's producing a lot of sugar in its leaves, you won't have any pests.
Did
That's the
you
secret.
did you have any issue ever with any gnats, like fungus gnats?
To begin with, yeah, you're always going to start there. So that's the stage. Those are the stages. So if you clear mother, like I said, you clear that land. First thing that's going to come is the grass, and then the shrubs, and then well, also comes the flies and the gnats, and the grazers, and all those things that eat those plants. So yeah, that was the first stage. So as this builds and as the biology builds and all the critters start coming in and all the rove beetles and all these, they eat the larvae of those flies and of those pests. So the pests never get a chance to get going because their larva has been eaten
Yeah.
by all the other. So it's actually, in a way, kind of good to have a little pest pressure because that little bit of pest pressure is good for your plants, but it's also feeding your good guys. So if you don't have food for your good guys will turn into bad guys and start eating your plants. So we have to feed the soil in order for them. So that's where chop and drop comes into play. So I'm chopping and dropping and cutting up all this green waste on top of this brown waste. So I'm cutting green on top of brown, green, brown, and I'm layering it like you would a compost pile. So we're basically composting right here in the bed throughout the life of the bed. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to green, brown, green, brown. As the plants grow up, we'll pluck all the stuff off of, get all the stuff we want off, but all that green wood and weight, all that plant matters goes right back in the bed. So everything that comes out, except for what we consume as humans, goes right back in the bed.
So That's very interesting. Is there do you have any plans of putting anything else in there? Is there any other plants or anything
Nope.
that you're looking to?
Nope. It's already full. We're full,
Fair.
bro. Everything in here is crazy, man. It's already I gotta chop and drop every day now. You know what I'm saying? If I don't chop and drop every day, it's gonna get it'll get out of hand. I'll be in
Yeah.
here for 2 days chopping. You know what I mean?
I could imagine. I could imagine it's like you always are finding new things that you see can be done or that you just take interest to that probably are very time consuming. So it's probably one of these projects that is very, very entertaining but very time consuming.
Correct. It is. And that's why I was telling people, like, oh, that's got to be awesome. I was like, well, it is awesome for me because I don't really have a whole lot to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is like what I want to do. This is my hobby. It's like
The,
working on a car. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like,
I could imagine it being very entertaining for a certain crowd of people, but certain another crowd could be just way in over their head. You know what I mean?
yes. Yeah, you can get into this and get way in it. Well, and it can, if you don't know, if you don't have the knowledge to fix problems, like strategic thinking,
Mm-hmm.
like thinking ahead, you will have problems. There's no doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? I've just kind of tried to catch all these problems before they happen and nip them in the bud before they get into a big, like when I saw those elephant ears start to curl and I saw them curl, I was like, okay, I already know something is going on down there that shouldn't be going on. So how do I fit? What's the first step that I take to fix that? And the solution is biology. The solution was the lactic acid bacteria. So once I got the proper biology down there, that biology can then turn all that bad gas, all that bad stuff down there, that fungal shit, can turn it around and make it into good shit. That's the easiest way to think about this because it's so fucking complex, dude. Oh my God. The brightest minds in the world can't figure this shit out. I mean, they
Yeah.
know how it works, but as far as knowing how actually the the bacteria and the molecules and how all this works on a deep level when it comes to the electricity and the flow and the physics, it just gets so complex that it's like trying to think of how big the universe is. It's impossible.
It becomes self-sabotage at some points for some people. You know what I mean? It's
It
like
does.
it's
Yes,
definitely not a lane that is smart for everyone to dive into because I can imagine it's just intense. I can imagine.
it is intense, but and that's why I was trying to explain the basics to people that you, you can go this is what you can get
Yeah.
right here. I am a living example of it. This is what you can do with the basics. This is basic stuff right here. What you're seeing, what I built, it seems extremely complicated and everybody thinks I'm a fucking genius. I am not a genius. I just put two and two together and I strategically thought out the process in my head. And then I searched the information that I needed to complete each task. And this is why it took 10 months to do. And it wasn't, I could have built this in a couple of weeks, to be honest with you, if I knew what I was doing.
Yeah,
Like if I
but it
had the
is trial
material,
and
if I had
error.
the material, if I had the material, if I had, one other person, I could easily build something like this in a week.
But
But it took 10 months.
to figure out how it's supposed to all like flow together though too, right?
Correct. Yeah, it,
Yeah.
it, it had to function. Like
Yeah.
anybody can build a car, but if you ain't got an engine,
Exactly.
fuck, it's
Yes.
just something to look at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't want to have to, I wanted the easiest way to get a, basically a blue mat system, a watering system into my bed. That was it. I was like, how do I get continuous water in my bed, in my soil? Well, I kept hearing people say, well, mimic nature, mimic nature. And I was like, okay, well, let me try and mimic nature. Well, how does nature do it? And then Leighton was like, hey, sand, silt, and clay is how nature does it. And I was like, huh, I got sand, silt, and clay here on my property. Wait a minute, does these two connect? I went down there, shoveled some shit up, put it on there. He was like, hey, you might want to compost that because it's full of a lot of bad shit. I was like, okay, let the sun do it. Boom. Lay it out in the dry it out. Come to find out, I could plant a seed, a cannabis seed, right in that sand, silt, and clay. Just shovel it up off the ground or off the driveway. Put it in a bucket. All right. Put some water in it. Plant a seed, and it grew. I was like, holy shit. I was like, holy shit. That's the secret. That's the mineral, that's the nutrient and mineral that we're missing in my soil. Like my soil doesn't have sand, doesn't have clay, it doesn't have silt, it doesn't have any of that when I get it out of a bag. No, but if I put it in there, if I use that good soil that I get from the bag, and then I add my biology that I have around here, and then the sand and the silt and the clay is the food for the biology. So I got to feed my biology. I just can't put the biology into some peat moss and expect them to live. That's not where they live. They live in sand, silt, clay. They live in roots. You know what I mean? This is where these things live. So in order for them to survive, they have to have a home. And so I built a home. That's all I did. I built them a home, and now I stocked the pantry full of food, and now all I got to do is sit around and wait and make sure that they break down the food in a timely fashion. And if they're not, then I just feed them some more. I'll feed them some molasses or something. Get them jolted. It's kind of like a jump start to the system, some sugar. You know what I mean?
The sugar and
Yeah,
molasses?
correct. Yes,
I didn't.
molasses.
I never knew
Yeah,
that.
blackstrap molasses. Unsulfured blackstrap molasses is a awesome tool to use to jumpstart biology.
Well,
But don't overdo it. Don't be a moron. Don't
yeah.
continue to put it on and on and on. This is basically a you don't have to jumpstart your car battery every time.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You know what
that's
I'm
interesting.
saying?
Wait. So, like, how does that work? What is the molasses like even doing? It's
It's a stimulant. It's a stimulant. So the molasses is basically just stimulating the biology in the soil. So it's waking it up. It's giving it food,
hmm,
and it's really gonna multiply super fast. It's like giving it crack.
basically,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
That's
So
very interesting.
you're just giving it crack. That's all you're doing. It's a little coke. Here's a little cocaine. Go out, let it go party. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing down there.
Let me ask this though. It's basically kind of like a two-part question. Do you ever have any interest in using praying mantises, and do you think that praying mantises are effective in indoor grows?
Hell yeah, they are. Hmm.
Do you think you'll ever use one?
Uh, I had one in here when I first started building this thing,
Really?
and it was in I had a 4x4 in the corner over here. If you go back in my Instagram, you'll see it. You can actually see me build this whole thing. I mean, you just got to go back in my Instagram. I do updates, so I'm on day like what 600 and some now. You go back to like day 150-ish, somewhere around there, and you'll see. And keep on going. Maybe no, I say I started probably like day 57, 58, started building the thing. Okay. So you can go back in my Instagram and look at updates. Like once a week or so, I put an update and I'll show how I'm building it, how far along I
Well,
am. But yeah, the praying mantis, awesome tool. I'm all about beneficial insects, beneficial biology. Anything we can put in the ground, in the soil that is a positive and not a negative is a good thing. Especially, like I said, I won't have a praying mantis in here because I don't have the food for the praying mantis. You know what I'm saying? I don't have pests,
yeah.
so I don't have praying mantis. And if I had
Sure.
pests, the praying mantis would show up. He would just show up. I wouldn't have to bring him in here. He would just come in here on his own because he knows food's in here.
Really?
Just like the black soldier fly, or just like yeah, the black soldier fly. I didn't buy any black soldier fly. I just set an apple in a bucket and let it rot. And guess what comes? Black soldier flies.
That's very
And
smart. That's very strategic. That's very because like a lot of people when it comes to having the past, it's very complicated for a lot of people, and it's sort of something that makes a lot of people quit or just get a sour taste in growing in a
yeah,
natural way, and probably makes a
yeah,
lot of people go to Rockwool, go to any of these unnatural methods. And I think it's something that is very terrible for the end consumer because a lot of people just get overwhelmed, and those probably aren't the people who should be taking on the task, as we were just speaking about. Like
yeah.
the task that you've taken on is definitely a bunch of steps ahead of just doing it, but it's something that it ties into that. If anyone that was just listening to that will know what I'm saying. It's very much overwhelming for anyone who's taking on this task, and I can imagine that's why we see what we see today. This
Yeah.
over this over consumption of garbage. You know what I mean?
Well, there's a lot of it out there, that's for sure.
Yes.
And believe me, I consumed quite a bit of it, getting
Mm.
into this. And that's kind of what pushed me to the natural farming aspect, along with the COVID and everything else. But just seeing and listening, YouTube is there's so much information out there. I mean, who do you listen to? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like what's right, what's wrong? And in my opinion, Mother Nature is right.
Yeah.
So if we follow her, then we should be okay. But following her takes strategic thinking. It takes knowing what's coming around the corner before you get around the corner. You know what I mean? You know winter's coming, you know fall's coming. You have to prepare for these things. So if you prepare for these things, then you're ready to go when the time comes. It's kind of like the old saying, all the preppers, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you're a prepper, you're a survivalist or whatever. You got a bunker around back, you know what I'm saying? You probably never need it, but it's there if he needs it. It's
Exactly.
about being prepared. Some of it can be, some people look at that and they see these preppers as being over prepared. They're being crazy or loony or whatever. And sometimes some of them are. Some of them are just want to be prepared for whatever comes around the corner. It's kind
Yeah,
of like
just in
having a
case.
gun. If you have a gun, it's best to have it and not use it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But if you ain't got one and need it, then you're
That's
fucked.
That's like the mentality behind martial arts. It's like basically once you learn the craft, you don't really need to use it. You have that confidence to protect yourself, and you kind of are able to
Right.
now be able to prepare your words in order to make situations not even have to happen. You know what I mean? And like
Exactly.
go about
I've never
things.
been I've never been in a fight in my life. And the
Yeah,
reason is because I've always talked myself out of it.
yeah. It's
Like there's
definitely
nobody I need to fight because I can confidently say that I know who I am and I'm confident in who I am. And nobody's going to say, "Oh, you're a dickhead." Well, okay, fine, I am. I don't care. You know what I mean? There's no
yeah.
reason for me to go over there and fight somebody.
Yes,
You know
I
what
know what you
I'm
mean. Yeah, it's one of
saying? You
those
can say
things.
whatever you want.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like it's just being the adult. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, yeah,
basically in the bigger picture that is very hard for a lot of people. A lot of people are always trying to prove themselves, and it's one of those things you don't have to do once you actually see things for what it is. And let me ask
correct.
you a few more questions. Have
Sure.
you had any psychedelic experiences?
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. The old LSD is one of my favorite things when I was 18, 19. Actually, I had a great first experience with it, though. I will tell you that. Really eye-opening, mind-opening, I should say. So that experience really helped me in my business, and I think in a way helped me, in my strategic thinking. It really opens up my mind, and I can't really explain it. It's really hard to describe to people, especially since I'm so old now. Well, I'm not so old. I'm 49, but this was 30 years ago now. Uh, but the experience was just, stars on strings type thing. You know what I mean? It was just
This
like
was with
so,
LSD.
yeah, the LSD. It was like a stars. The only way I can describe it is because one particular moment, I was laying on a car hood and I looked up and the stars were on strings and they were literally right in front of my face. Like they were just looked like the stars were dangling on strings and they were so close to me. And I was like, whoa, it's just like, is that the universe? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's going on here? Because I had never experienced, this is the first experience with it, so of course, you're young, you don't really know anything, and it's like, holy shit, am I going to die or am I going to have this outer body experience? And fortunately, I had a good experience. Some people don't have such good experiences, but I had a really good experience with LSD. And then it was into the shrooms. Uh, yeah, all that stuff is. I won't recommend the LSD. I would
Hmm.
recommend definitely a mind altering experience in the right application. So a lot of people are doing ayahuasca right now, but they're doing it in certain situations. Like they have a shaman with them, they have, professional help, they have doctors around. And back in the day, we were popping acid tabs, not knowing what the fuck we were doing, and just going to another planet. Some people came back okay. Some people have, shit still to this day.
Well,
But
also the very bad part about that is it's like a research chemical basically. It's like they're
yeah,
so it's like I've had my experiences with LSD. I think that it's definitely something that's like opened my mind in a very interesting ways. But the thing that's really done it for me is just microdosing shrooms. Shrooms is something that is wonderful if you can get the right ones. And nowadays, just
yeah,
like cannabis, it's evolving fast. It's evolving it's amazing to see. It's almost quicker than weed right now because all these different things are so different. The effects on them are so different. So it's like so cool to see. But like the microdosing of it's like the road I go because of my experiences with acid and like just having like a little bit too crazy of a time, you know what I mean? Like
yeah. Little at a time, right? Little at a time.
exactly like I don't know. The first time I tripped it was sort of like a bad experience or a bad trip as they call it, but I think that
Yep, yep.
what that is you it's a just a lesson. Like it's a perfect opportunity to learn either about yourself or learn about the people you're with and sort of like be have this life flash moment where it's like you need to change shit. You know what I mean? And it's very
Yep.
useful if you allow it to be. But then there's a lot of people who aren't open to having that happen. So it can lead them down a very dangerous route. So I do think that the safer route for anyone is probably just the microdosing of shrooms because it's super effective. It's super helpful and also sort of fun. So it's like just like the best of both worlds, you know?
Right. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah. Little doses is always better than a big dose, in my opinion, because you can always add, you can't subtract. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well,
I've had friends that literally like taking like sheets, like they just trying to kill
hmm
themselves almost with acid and
uh,
shit. It's like I don't even know what they're trying to do, like where they're trying to go. Looking back on it, like I was like just always stunned at how these guys would never really seem affected. And I'm like, why would you even take it? It didn't even seem like it did anything. Like certain people, it didn't even seem like it really was working almost. And I was like,
well, that's either bad acid or
or
their
it's like,
brain's already there.
that's kind of, I think these guys were already like a little bit, you know, Uh, they didn't need it basically.
Yep.
But
I know. You got friends like that.
the one thing I really wanted to ask is when it comes to the whole like documenting everything is like what are you gonna do with all the footage? Do you have any plans with that?
I got a YouTube channel, and I actually I was going to eventually put a video together once I get my website up and going. And like I said, this is all new to me, so this is I'm just a year, not even a year in yet. So hopefully this time next year, I will have the website up. I'll have merch. I'll have some stuff you can purchase. I'll have we'll have a documentary type thing on YouTube where I can piece everything together that I did on Instagram. I still have all the video. Um, so I'm going to piece it all together and try and make a little documentary on how I built this one, because this one is not how I would build the next one. And this is why I haven't been, this is why I turned down people who want me to come build something for them, because I'm not there yet, and I still want to build one for myself before I go build something for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Because once you build something for somebody else, then you're responsible for that, and then I basically want to dot my I's, cross my T's, do everything that needs to be done, basically like a business. I've been self-employed for 22 years, 20 some plus years. How long is it, Dale? Damn, 23 years. Shit, long time. But yeah, it's kind of like running a business. So I'm gonna start small and just gradually grow into the website and putting everything online to where you can actually see it and not have a time restraint on it, like Instagram.
Yeah, the thing that I definitely can see with what you're doing is you're playing the long game, and that's something that you don't really see with a lot of people. It's definitely something that it will go very far in the end. It's gonna be very valuable and it's very cool to see what you're doing. So it was cool to do
Appreciate that.
this.
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking about it, and I appreciate all the good people out there that yeah, enjoy what I'm doing, and hopefully I can encourage other people to get into the natural farming aspect and realize that really this is about nutrition and self-awareness and having a better life. You know what I'm saying? Living a better, healthier, stronger life. Not just growing cannabis, but mentally, physically, emotionally, all these things tie into all of this. And once we realize that, it's like, holy shit, we are all the same. We are all connected. We all came from dirt. We're all going back to dirt.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
let's do the best we can while we're here, you know what I mean? And be nice to everybody. Shit, life is short and everybody wants to kill everybody. God damn, you're gonna be dead fast enough. Trust me.
One thing everyone's promised is death. As unfortunate as that is to say, but it's like you got to make the best of it while you can, and it's definitely I think it makes a lot of people happy when they see the videos you do because it is it's almost like people can I don't know, people can be inspired and motivated to well, inspired and motivated are the same thing. They could be inspired and also kind of like jealous in a way that's going to be very effective and like helpful. So it's like no matter if they have either of those, they're going to be very, very much striving for something better. And it's like I think a lot of people are going to have a big smile when they see any of these things that you do. It's like it's almost like a little kid version of them gets to live through you. You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah,
every you know what I mean?
that's
This is
cool. I
like
appreciate that.
because like I don't know, it's like some people will probably never ever be able to achieve what you're doing, and it's definitely it's really cool to see that someone has the platform to be able to at least show people, and it's going to motivate someone to be able to at least attempt it. So it's like you will be what evolves a part of this game. And one last question though is like what would you refer to this style of growing as? Is it Korean natural farming?
I would say I wouldn't say Korean natural farming. I would probably go closer to just like just natural farm, just it's earth farming.
Yeah.
It's nature's way of how this planet evolved into us and how we got here, how plants got here. All this revolves around biology. So this started with me learning about how to grow cannabis, and now it's evolved into me learning how to grow bacteria and fungi. And the this biology, soil biology, because biology is everything. We are biology. You know what I mean? I say
Yeah.
biology, but we are biology. I'm culturing and growing soil microorganisms, soil life. Okay, and we all come from this place. Whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
And like I said before, we're all going to go back to this place. And what I'm trying to tell people is that you can evolve from just growing a plant to get high with to growing a plant and actually realizing that this plant is you, that it is pulling nutrients out of the ground and you're consuming it, and this is going into you, and now it is you. It's going to come out of you and it's going to go back out into the soil, and it's going to continue that cycle forever, we hope. So for me, this whole thing has evolved from growing cannabis to my mind altering, crazy ass system. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. It got to the point where I'm like, this is good for my mental health. It's good for other people's mental health if I share it. You know what I'm saying? If I show people that, this can be done without a master's degree,
Yes.
without fucking, a soil biology degree, that the information is there and available online on YouTube, really. YouTube is my home because I'm a visual learner. I don't read books. I can't comprehend it. I can't hold the knowledge that way. But if I see it, it's like scientists set up exam or they set up things to where they can see what's going on, because you really don't know what's happening until you see it. You have to see it happen. When I see sand turn into soil, that throws a light bulb off in my head, like, hey, this sand and this silt is full of the nutrient that these microorganisms want. So why not give it to them? So when I give it to them, they turn that sand and silt into plant available nutrient. And I don't have to buy any amendments. I don't have to add amendments. I don't have to do anything, because this plant is growing off of the biology that's actually out in the woods. I just brought it inside. That's all I did, and gave it a home. So once you give it a home, you'll realize that everything falls into place. Your life will get better. Your The mentality, if you have mental issues and you can't solve a certain problem, hobbies help solve these problems. Helping other people help solve these problems. You know what I mean? When you help somebody else, you help yourself. So when I feel really good when I get to talk to people like you. Makes me feel good.
Yeah,
Makes me feel
it's
like I'm doing something with my life. You know what I mean? That I'm
yeah,
not just sitting around smoking dope all day. You know, which is cool. I love sitting around smoking dope all day, but I want to be a functional
exactly.
addict. You know what I
It's
mean? I don't mind being an addict. I just want to be a functional one. If I can be an addict throughout my whole life and be happy doing it and be
yeah.
successful doing it, then fuck, I'm going to do it.
Well, I think that it's one of these things that realistically, just like coffee, just like any of these different things, it can be abused and it can be taken
Absolutely.
taken in a way that can be just very bad for the person. Like I have seen millions of people in America who have abused food, and it's just obviously not going to be something that's going to be good for them in the end. So it's like
Nope.
one huge piece of the puzzle that you have to be able to kind of just find your comfort, find your system, and if you're able to get a good understanding of yourself and be able to be critical of yourself in a useful way, then things should be able to play out proper. But it's like definitely a huge piece of that game too. When you're growing cannabis, you have to be very critical. You have to see the problem before it happens.
That's
You know what I
correct.
mean?
You got to be a strategic thinker. You got to think ahead. You got to you can set it up. Once you set it, it's not forget it.
Exactly.
That's what a lot of people think. They think you can just set this stuff and forget it. No, no, no. If human beings left the planet today, what would the world look like in 2 months? It would be overgrown with vegetation. The houses would be overgrown, the weeds would be tall, life would thrive.
Yeah. Detroit. Detroit's like
We're
a
the ones.
bank
We're the
price.
ones coming in. People talk about climate change.
Yeah.
And do you believe in it? Do I believe in it? What the fuck? What kind of question is that? Of course, I believe in climate change. I just don't think we agree on how the climate's changing. And how we can solve the problem. That's the
Well,
only thing.
let me ask you this, because let me set you up like by saying how I think of it. My theory is that things go in cycles. Over time, that nature will change in different areas, and you can't necessarily predict what it's going to be in a certain area just off of the way it was yesterday. You know what I mean? Like things
Yeah.
are definitely always going to be rapidly changing, just how it
Yep.
is, and we're never going to be able to just sit in one spot still for a million years and expect it to just be always the same. You know what I mean? It's gonna like
Correct. Yeah. It's
things.
just Native Americans did this the best.
Yes,
Here in America,
exactly.
we Native Americans had to move, not because
Exactly.
they were being chased, but
Chase the
because they were
buffalo.
chasing food.
Chase the buffalo.
Yeah, they were
Yes.
chasing the climate. And the buffalo chase the climate.
Yes.
They want to be comfortable. They want
Yeah.
to go where the food is.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. It's like a lot of people think that it's just like, oh, it's gonna be peace and paradise where they are. They think that they can buy their spot into to heaven almost. And it's just not the way it's ever been. You know what I
No,
mean?
and something, yeah, that we might get there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that we're not going to get to the point
I don't
a
think on this
robot
earth.
where a robot's doing everything for it. I mean, I might have a robot out here in 20 years, chopping and dropping my shit. I don't know. I mean, I'm not against that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, I thought it would be cool to have a robot. I love technology, and I have a very open mind when it comes to this stuff. And I love technology. I wouldn't have this in this room right now if it wasn't for technology. If
What's
I
your
didn't have the LED lights and all this stuff, wouldn't be in here.
what's your thoughts on the pyramids?
How they were built?
Who do you think built them?
Well, I think humans built them, but in my honest opinion, it was probably done with technology that we don't have anymore. So
Exactly,
I
yes.
think they probably use magnetism.
Well, do you think it's the same technology they use to get off of this earth?
Well, that's if they got off this earth.
Well,
If you
where
believe
else did
it,
they go?
well, if you believe that they might still be here, or they might have just
Maybe.
been gone extinct in the technology that they had didn't survive the extinctions that we've had through it. So there's been like seven extinctions, I think, or five.
That's kind of my theory of the whole thing is if we look at today's time, there's like definitely sort of like these higher up people who are sort of planning for, or even like the preppers. People are always prepping for shit goes
Yep.
wrong. Like people are always strategizing. So I
Yep.
don't think that's some habit that just like wasn't passed down. I believe that was something that was obviously in that community as well. But I think if they were more strategic than the other people around them, of course, a lot of people will go extinct through these different, or not extinct, people will go through some very
Dormant.
rough, yeah, you know what I mean? They'll go through some very rough chapters of almost becoming worse than they were, like becoming cavemen again when
Yep.
the
Reset. Yeah, they call it
yes,
reset.
exactly. And it's like the people who were elite enough to get through these different struggles that were able to prep, I believe they would be smart enough to kind of see a situation like that coming. And if they're able to build a pyramid, then they'll probably be able to build some type of aircraft that's probably able to get them off of this planet. I think that if we are always trying to do that, it's not just like some habit that just like we came up with. It's obviously something I believe just got passed down just as much as the strategizing did.
So you think it's just been passed down through the DNA?
Sort of in a way,
You know?
yes. I do think that like people have to eventually move. You can't stay in one spot for too long. Just like what I was talking about. It's like things go bad if you stay in one spot for too long. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So I do truly
Absolutely.
believe any higher like evolved version of us in a past time like then when it was more potentially they had phones, potentially they had all these different things, but we don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's like some artifacts that like point to that or whatever, but like who really knows? You know what I mean? It's like a lot of
Yeah, they've got
speculation.
stuff. I'm pretty sure they know, like certain entities know, but
Mm,
it's just hidden from the public. Like
exactly.
The Vatican has some crazy shit in its vault that probably they
Yes.
don't want anybody to know.
That the
Like
Vatican's a fucking
ancient languages and
yeah, the
things
Vatican's
that
a
just can't be explained, that
they have
it's kind of crazy. So yeah, it, the universe is, like I said before, is like trying to think of, what's in the soil or what's going
exactly
on in the soil. It's like it's almost impossible to think of
sort of.
all the different possibilities that it could be. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely I believe it's like the fear of the unknown that like definitely makes people wonder, but it's also
Yeah.
like the thing that makes people like never really like settle on one thing, and like that's definitely truly why I don't say that I think that's like the only thing that could have been the case, but I think that's like probably the most logical thing that I've ever came up with because
Yeah,
like
I mean, it's logical. Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah
all those theories that I hear. I mean, some of them are crazy, of course, but like the ancient aliens shows, and
yeah
they got a lot of good points, but then again, you listen to like Neil deGrasse, and he he doesn't believe in aliens at all. You know what I
yeah
mean? He thinks we just have a lost technology that it's basically like they didn't have backhoes back then. You know what I'm saying? They didn't use gasoline powered backhoes because they didn't have that technology. And the reason they didn't is because that technology, that mindset wasn't there. They went another route
yeah.
in the way they were thinking about how to move these things. So they
Well, as
probably
far as
had
we know.
knowledge of, of like how water is, you can float logs on water, but you can
Yeah.
also vibrate water to a point where it can levitate things up off top of the water. So, there's a lot of different things out there that could have happened. They could have used. It could have been all manpower. They could have
Yeah.
just got fucking a whole lot of people together and fucking
Maybe.
handled that bitch up there. But that's kind of, kind of crazy to think of.
That's like the thing. I don't know. To me, it seems like almost like a symbolism of them trying to show the people who aren't going to make it through what's coming that there was something greater to work towards.
Yeah, makes
That's
sense, right? Like the Ark of the Covenant,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, the Bible speaks of all these things, you
exactly.
know. And I don't know how you feel about religion. Me personally, I grew up in a Baptist, Southern Baptist. I grew up baptized Catholic. Uh, Basically, my family's religious. Okay, my brother's a preacher. Um, I'm not religious,
Really?
so I didn't really fit very well in the whole goddamn. I'm more of like a spiritual scientist in my brain type
Yes.
thing. Like I believe that religion and spirituality and science are all one.
Yeah.
Okay. They
Equal
fit
teams.
together perfectly. And the Bible was written by people, not one person, but by people over the course of time, over the course of
Exactly.
like 500 years.
Exactly.
This book was written. And there are different sections and different stories. And the Bible is written in a story form because the story form is the easiest way the human mind can absorb the information. Like can actually
Yeah.
take and say, hey, if you fuck your neighbor might kill you. So
Exactly.
be nice to them. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yes, exactly. That's that it's a very useful tool, and I do truly believe that it was something that was made just for that. It was made to incentivize people just as much as Santa Claus or the Tooth
Just to
Fairy.
be good,
Yes,
just to stop killing one another. That's all it was. Because
exactly.
man wants to kill. I mean, we want to
We do.
destroy.
We
It's
do.
in our DNA.
We want to conquer.
Yeah, it's just easy. It's an
It
easy
is.
out. You know,
It is. It is. It's sort of human nature that we all want to be the greatest in something or something along those lines. It's like not. It's it's. It used to be survival of the fittest. It used to be.
used to be yes, yes. Now it's the times have changed.
Yes.
And
So
I never started. It's funny we talk about this because I never started this whole project
yeah.
to, how should I say it? It wasn't. It never was just about weed. You know what I mean? Like it was, but then again, in the back of my head, I was like, I wanted something more. Like I didn't want just the bag and a pot and a plant in a pot, basically. When I had the fish tanks before, and I've had all these hobbies, different hobbies that I've had throughout my life, and I never stuck with any of them, basically. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a fish tank anymore. Like I did it, and it's beautiful. I was good at it. I got rid of it. It's because I got bored of it. I get bored very easily, and that's one thing that hold back a lot of what could have been successful people is that,
Yes.
like me, they get bored very easily when they get into something. So they'll get into something, like poker or like golf or like anything, and I'll get hardcore in it, man. I mean, I was so into poker, like I spent hours a day on the computer. I spent hours and days at the poker house playing cards. The reason I'm really good at it, but and I was making money at it, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. I was going to spend my whole life sitting at a poker table, being bored out of my mind, basically. You know what I mean? Was that really where I wanted to be? No, that wasn't where I wanted to be. But did I want to clean cars for a living? I mean, it was fun, but I got bored. You know, what I do now is drive truck. Like, I mean, I owned a delivery company for 22 years now. So I don't drive anymore because I have people do that for me now. So I've
Mm.
gotten to that point where I don't have to, get in the truck every day and go to work every day. And that's because I strategically thought out my plan before when I started the business. I knew that I could need to be in something that I could do for the rest of my life, basically. I can't lay brick for the rest of my life. I can't, I didn't want to clean cars for the rest of my life. I didn't want to, be a real estate agent for the rest of my life. I didn't want to work at a campground for the rest of my life. I didn't want to work at budget rental car for the rest. I've had a lot of jobs, all in a short time frame, though. I did all this stuff in like months, not years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I learned really fast. I would get into these projects and learn it and then get bored and then move on and learn it, get bored, move on. Never really sticking to anything to be great at it. You know what I mean? I never gave myself the opportunity because I always got bored and quit.
Do you think that was for a greater reason?
Now looking back on it, yes, I do, because things happened in my life that, and COVID had a lot to do with it, but COVID also, changed a lot of my family's life, which that in turn changed my life. So COVID was actually really good for me and my business. I didn't get
Yes.
sick, but I didn't really know anybody who did get sick in my family, so to speak. But it mentally had a toll on a lot of other people in my life that had problems with it. So that in turn had problems on me because I care about these people. And so it threw me in a spiral to where I was doing really good in business, making a lot of money, but I wasn't happy. I was miserable, but I had a pocket full of cash. I was like, this should not be. I should be the opposite. I should be happy when I have all this money. I've been striving my whole life to make this money. Now I'm making it and I'm fucking pitiful. I'm not happy at all. And when you realize that, money only gives you the power to try other things, so to speak. But if you can't find what you're looking for, you're always going to be unhappy. So it's really about finding something that you really care about, that you're passionate about, and seeing it through, not getting bored. And when you do get bored, you will get bored. Get up and do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's the whole key. Like I have a routine now. Like I have a purpose. Like my purpose now is to get up every morning, brush my teeth, do my thing, and come out here and make videos and basically be a steward to this project that I've built. And now I can build upon this. I can keep building and keep building. It's something that, like poker, like golf, like all these different hobbies, that building cars and all these different hobbies, they can do for the rest of their life. This is something that I can do for the rest of my life, and I can set it up strategically to benefit me and my mental health and other people's mental health. So now it's not just about me anymore. Now I'm trying to be happy for other people to be happy.
Yeah, it goes a long way. It's one of those
It does.
things. It's something that is like I don't know, it's a very useful tool. It's like one thing I've learned over time is like very easy to just be the guy who's always just mad at nothing. There's some people you'll run into in life who just like are always
You're
looking
just
for a
mad.
reason. Yeah, just
Yep.
for no good reason at all. And it doesn't make any
Yep.
sense why they haven't figured it out yet because it obviously hasn't worked yet. It's like something that is like not going to be beneficial for, but it's somehow some way you will be able to find like-minded people who are also that misery loves company type situation where it's like if you are one of those people you will be able to find that crowd. So it's like
Oh yeah.
best to have that self-awareness and that understanding of what that is early to get away from it, you know what I mean? And it's
That's
like
where that's where that energy flow comes into play. Like
Right.
this energy thing. I was talking about magnetism and energy and the EC levels in your soil, that electromagnetic charge that everything has. It's in your soils and our bodies. This flow, Star Wars called it the Force. He was probably on to something there because
Yes.
there is a force out there that draws people together. And but it's weird how it works. And I don't think we've figured it out yet because it's
It's
like if you throw off good vibes, it seems like good vibes come back. If you throw off bad vibes come back. And this is an energy, exchange going on here. So it's just like the energy exchange in the soil. The same exchange happens. We just can't see it up above ground. You know what I'm saying? That energy, if I come into this room pissed off, my plants, I guarantee you, know it. If
they
I come
do.
in here happy, they're happy.
It's like one of those things like you know it's very what I think is a good example at least is like when when you are around like a baby or like maybe a dog or like some sort of animal, if you
Oh, yeah.
have any anger in you, they'll sense it. They don't even have to, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
They don't want that around them. You know, it's like something that they aren't able to really pick up on the words, but they're able to pick up on the what's in the air somehow. You know what I
It's the
mean?
vibration. It's that
Yeah.
vibration. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the energy that they're feeling in their bones. Grandma
Exactly.
used to say, I could feel it in my bones.
Exactly. It's something that like you can see it on like a little like a cat's face. Like a cat will notice when you're not happy. And it's like
Oh, yeah, they know. And you
they
didn't
don't like that.
say anything. You didn't say anything. You didn't
Yeah.
do anything. You just threw off that vibe.
Yeah. Or if you're like sick, like dogs, I've noticed like dogs are very dogs will come over to you and like try to like basically hug you when you're not feeling good. Like they want to be next to you. They want to like comfort you almost.
That's right.
It's very
That's right.
interesting. That it's like I've
Yeah.
noticed like them being able to pick up on it is something that obviously is like a greater symbol of there is something that is really there that you can't overlook.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just like radio waves. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
like me talking to you on this phone here. I don't see any lines running from me to you. This is all done through waves.
It is amazing,
Yeah,
right? It's like
it's amazing.
like 3 hours basically over a phone, and it's like we're
Yeah,
not in the same state or anything. That's like it's very cool because you get to like learn a lot. You get to almost get to know the person, and it's like it's very useful. That's why I do want to do more of these interview style videos and like do these because I think that it's like a great way for people to get to understanding who these people are and see how it's very much like people you can relate to. It's not like people who are gifted. It's not like these people who are just like fucking blessed into it. You know what I mean? Like
just
maybe
people,
they're
just people. Man. Yep,
they're
yep,
gifted when it comes to their mindsets, in my opinion. That's truly what it is like the way they look at situations is something that gets them through a lot of the struggles and makes them see ways of using it as a useful tool.
exactly. It's strategic thing. Like I said,
Exactly.
if I have any advice I can give is that it's learn strategic thinking, the art
Exactly.
of strategic thinking. It will change your life. Like I always use Tom Brady as an example, just because Tom Brady's the GOAT. Everybody knows he's the GOAT. He's not the biggest. He's not the fastest. It's his mindset. My wife asked, "Oh, what makes him so better than everybody else?" It's mindset. It's his decision making. He can foresee the future. He strategically thinks about things before they happen. Therefore, he knows
He's
the
planning for it to
reaction
go
of the
wrong. He's very wise. I'm from
he's
Massachusetts.
that's just another term for it.
Yeah.
Wise, wisdom.
Yeah.
This is just another term for somebody who thinks strategically.
Yes, because
You
they
know,
always say that like the elders have the wisdom, but I think the people who have been through the life experiences have the wisdom. So it's like
The life experience comes from yeah, it comes with age though. You know what I'm saying?
it
Like
should.
you
It should.
can
It can be something that like it can happen to anyone. Like sometimes people have like a rough period when they're young, and they can use it
100%.
either they could either use it as their crutch, or they could use it as their like
Yep.
their
I
reason
always,
to. Yeah.
because he, or any of these rappers, a lot of these guys, man, way ahead of their time. I mean, they saw what was coming. They made money doing what they did, but they had trauma in their life young. You know what I mean? And that gave them the wisdom to write these songs that make so much sense when they're 20 years old. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Because
So it seems like, you can be way wiser than your age. That's correct. But when I talk to old farmers, like an old farmer, like 80-year-old, I got a guy down the street here. He's like 82. He still farms. He still does all this shit, man. And the guy is this. He's probably the smartest person I've ever met in my life. He didn't even graduate high school.
yeah, well,
Okay,
I didn't
that's
graduate
what
high
I'm talking.
school either.
He's got the wisdom of this experience of 80 some years of doing the same thing now for
Really.
40, 50 plus years. You know what I'm saying? So there's something to say with 50 years experience versus 2 years experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I would hope nobody would ever like call me first when it comes to soil biology. You know what I mean? I'm not, I'm not a soil scientist. I just put shit together to make it look like I'm a soil scientist.
And could you say that it's pretty fair that most of this stuff that you've collected now has been through YouTube as well?
Oh yeah, yeah. All my knowledge came from pretty much YouTube.
Yeah.
Except for the I'm talking about
The pass down
this
stuff
stuff.
from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this stuff like cannabis for cannabis. Like I mean, I've grown tomatoes my whole life, squash,
Yeah.
gardening. But when it comes to like soil science and actually learning how the plant
Yeah.
actually uptakes nutrients and actually how everything works, how the carbon cycle works, how the nitrogen cycle works, how all these different cycles work and come together as one. That is what this bed represents. It represents a lot of different ideas, ways. There's so many different ways of growing. I just brought a lot of that and pieced them all together, like aquaponics, hydroponics, soil, living soil. All these things are pretty close to the same. When you bring them all together, they create something that's just like nature, and it is nature. You know what I mean? That's what we're doing. We're mimicking what's outside. That's all science is. Science is just trying to figure the fuck out what's going on.
Let me
It's
ask you.
already it's already done.
I was watching one of your videos, and there was there some sort of plant that kind of just like grew itself, sort of?
Yeah, a lot
It
of this
just came.
stuff, man.
Really? Wow. So it just
Yeah,
like, I mean, oh well, like randomly you didn't expect it to come? Like it just
yeah. The
popped up.
elephant ear. I didn't plant elephant ears in here.
Oh, really?
No,
Oh,
I didn't put the dog fennel in here.
oh,
I didn't put
because there was this
uh
one video I seen. You were like, I don't
the
even know what this
grass.
is. You were
What's
like,
that?
you found something. And you were like saying you didn't know what it was in one of
Oh
the
yeah,
videos I
a lot
seen.
of this stuff coming out of the creek.
Yeah.
A lot of these grasses and like little bush like grasses coming out of the creek. I have no idea what they are.
Wow.
Like I probably have to take a picture and Google it, but it's going to give me some scientific shit that I can't pronounce.
Yeah, exactly. It's like some thing that's like well, it's not necessary. Do you think like those things are kind of just like are like kind of part of it? Like, do you think that you're gonna have to start pulling some of those things out, or are those
Uh,
things like
I'm
good?
only going to pull out. Yeah, I'm only going to pull out what gets
Fair.
overwhelming, basically. Like I don't want anything getting overwhelming in here. So like the I don't know if you go back a little bit to the last grow, you'll see the horsetail weed, and the horsetail weed got crazy. And so I cut all the horsetail weed out, and it's just starting to come back. Actually, I got one little piece here starting to come up by the shell, by the conch shell I got in here. So if you look at one of the videos by the alpha skunk in the middle, there's a conch shell. And I found that, you won't believe, I found that shell here on my property in the middle of the woods. I was just walking around in the middle of the woods and looked down, and there's a fucking conch shell. And I was like, how in the fuck did a conch shell get in the middle of the woods? And the only thing I can think of is that a bird or a seagull, we got seagulls around here,
Oh yeah, that makes sense actually.
and I think a seagull picked it up and flew and just dropped it in the woods.
That's like the only thing that would make sense, unless it was like some fisher who was driving back or some shit and just tossed it.
Well, no, this is a saltwater conch, a big ass shell that you find at Florida Beach down where you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like,
Now this is in Virginia,
oh yeah,
in the middle of the woods on
Jesus.
property. Yeah, yeah, like 150 miles from the ocean.
So it wouldn't even really make sense for it to fly unless the thing can fly like insanely quick, which have heard they're able to cover a lot of distance very fast. Um,
Well, yeah, 100 miles from it. Well, I'd say by by the bird's flight from the ocean to here is probably like,
half of that maybe.
yeah, maybe 30 miles,
Yeah,
35 miles.
because it's just direct. They don't have to fucking cut through traffic.
And there ain't nothing around here. I mean, there ain't no roads. And nobody threw it in the woods. I mean, I'm literally like in the middle of the woods. I look down, I'm like, how in the hell did that get here? Like,
That's
there's never been a house on that property. There's never been, the only thing that's ever been done is it has been clear cut of the timber, but the timber's all grown back up. You know, these are huge trees. But I remember my granddad did tell me back in the day that when he was young, that all this, none of this was here. He was like, all this was been cut, and they were farming here. So that conch shell could have been something that somebody just, when they were cutting the timber like 150 years ago, just, but I don't
that'd be
know if that
crazy.
makes more sense than the fucking bird or what, but
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder.
yeah,
I
it's a
mean, like,
wonder.
I wonder how long they can actually last.
Oh,
Like,
I don't know, but
would it disintegrate? Would it like turn into dust?
eventually, but it's like calcium, so it's like a hard ass like
Basically a bone.
shell, basically bone. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it does have some holes in it, like looks like bug holes, but for the most part, it's completely intact.
Wow. That's amazing. I wonder if it will last for like I wonder if those things can last hundreds of years.
I
Definitely
don't see why
possible,
they
I guess,
wouldn't.
but it's like maybe only possible because of like the condition it was in. Maybe it was like underneath like a bunch of shit before.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it had a lot of debris built up around it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just sitting on top of the thing. Yeah, I had to dig it out, but it was still sitting on top. But I still had to dig it out of the ground. So it had been there a long time.
You probably could find some crazy shit out there, to be honest. There's probably a bunch
Oh
of if you really went
yeah,
searching, there's probably like some old guns and shit. There's probably, you know what I mean?
yeah. I found a lot of bottles, a lot of
Really?
broken bottles, a lot of broken jars.
Yeah, that's
Um,
like when I was living in Massachusetts, there was a bunch of moonshine bottles at the place that I was at from my
mhm.
my great grandfather. It was like he had the property from for a long. I guess they had that property for like I don't know how long, because even like longer than him. But they had like like a moonshine thing on the property.
That's what we're known for around here.
Yeah.
Moonshine. 'Cause we got all the clean water around. We got all the streams. We got all. So I got quite a few people I know who love the moonshine, man. It's big around here.
Yeah, it's probably huge down there. It's probably like Probably actually clean too. I guarantee you, Massachusetts probably wasn't like the good shit. You know what I mean?
This stuff they boys make down here, man. This stuff is like everybody likes it all. I don't drink, so
Yeah,
I don't drink, but I have sipped these moonshine shit, and that goddamn,
I
I
can
don't know how
imagine.
anybody drinks that stuff, man. It's like drinking alcohol. I mean, not turpentine or some shit. It's like I don't know how anybody enjoys it.
Yeah, I've never had it. It
It's just
seems
so strong. It's like just
it seems like it would just be just too much. I'm pretty sure it's like basically it's like flammable, right? Like you could literally. Well, I know like a bunch of them are
oh yeah,
flammable, but like
it's
it's like
120 proof, man. It's just 120 proof alcohol.
yeah, that's just gonna like
It,
burn your insides. I
I can't do it. I can't.
that shit's definitely not gonna be good to be drinking. I don't know.
When I did drink, like I just quit. I quit drinking, and it's been 3 4 years now. Um, I quit for the health reasons because my stomach. I've always had stomach issues. That's one reason why I like cannabis so much, not just for the mental aspect, but for the medical. I had IBS, or I was headed to IBS, so to speak. Before I learned about how biology, then I started getting. I've been on probiotics basically for my stomach for 2 years now, and that's trying to build back up my microbiome. I got sick when I was, well, what, 2021? This is back when all the stress was hitting me and business was taking off and the family was hitting me hard. And uh, yeah, I got pretty much, felt like I was dying pretty much. I was just, I'm 6'2" and almost 6'3". Normally I'm 190 pounds. Uh, Back then I went from 190 to 162 was my lowest.
Wow.
So I looked like a fucking bean, dude. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I'm fucking sick. You know what I mean? It's like one of those times where you're just like, okay, game over. We got to go to the doctor. I can't fix this on my own. So go to the doctor, and he's like, puts me on antibiotics. Antibiotics fuck me even more. Uh, didn't the doctor didn't know what he was doing, so basically he crushed my microbiome with the antibiotic. So basically, I went from having like hardly any biology in my gut to having zero biology in my gut. So when I ate food, it was like diarrhea, dude. It just
Yeah.
whoop, right on out. I wasn't holding any nutrient whatsoever. So that's when that's another reason why the soil health thinking, once I realized and started hearing that, hey, it's the microbiology in the soil. It's your microbiome. And I put these things together, and I was like, wait a minute. You mean the nutrient? You mean all this stuff is coming from the biology? And that's there's living biology in my stomach. These acids and these microbes that I didn't have. So then I got into the probiotics, and the probiotics pretty much saved my life, along with diet change, quit alcohol, and exercise. I did those things and everything went back to normal. No medicine, no doctor bullshit, no nothing. Just quit drinking alcohol, taking probiotics, and exercise.
Exercise goes a long way. You have to be able to keep up with what you're eating. You know what I mean?
You
If
got to
you're
burn it, man. You got to burn it.
yes, yes, yes. You have
You
to. It's
got,
like it will get you if you don't. You know what I mean? It's like
yep,
something that is very major. You have to have some sort of outlet to be able to unleash the energy. You know what I
that's
mean? Get
right.
it out of you because it's like one of those things that will be the downfall of you if you don't. You know what I mean?
And if you don't have the energy, this is why I don't have the energy to work out. You don't have the energy to work out because you don't have the microbiome in your gut. You're not
Yeah.
eating properly, and you don't have the nutrient to give you that energy that you need.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you need that soil biology there and present in order to get the nutrient that you need to get the energy that we need in order to get out there and do what we need to do.
Yeah, it's huge. It's one of those things people always say you are what you eat, but it definitely is something that is more noticeable once you actually start eating the wrong things that you are what you eat. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
It's one of those
And there
things that'll
is
slow you
no good
down.
food. And there is no good food out there, man. It's
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
fucking hard. How hard is it to go out there and get a good, organically grown meal? It's almost impossible.
I think it's basically impossible at this point because there's a lot of marketing schemes where people will say things are this when it's not that. So realistically, you're gambling when you are
Yeah.
trying to buy organic. It's more of just a marketing scheme to boost it up a few dollars.
And
It's
then you know what? If it's pasteurized or anything like that, that means that the nutrients have been ripped out of it.
yeah. It's the whole thing is because they could say organic and it still might be technically like done in such like a improper way that they can still qualify it as such. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different schemes. Like even in like the cannabis market in Massachusetts, you technically are allowed to use certain PGRs. You're allowed to use or you're allowed
Yeah.
to have certain levels of mold on your plant. And even
How
worse,
crazy is that?
you're able to radiate the
Hmm.
mold sometimes. Like a lot of people are just radiating the fucking mold off of it. So they're just selling weed that's gone through radiation therapy, which is like, in my opinion, very dangerous. I don't know what it would do because I really don't have the data to say what, but I would assume that if radiation can cause cancer, if it can cause certain things, then why wouldn't it be terrible to smoke things that were already radiated? You know what I mean? Like people say that
Well,
it's not good.
radiation is a light wave. You know what I mean? That
It's like
radiation is
microwaving, right?
it's yeah, it's a the wave is closer together. Basically, it's more of a the waves are, how do you say it? Not strung out. They're more closer and dense together. So the waves are like up and down real close instead of
Yeah.
like a strung out wave, like it's stretched out. So that radioactive wave, that's a light wave basically that we can't see. You know, it's out of the spectrum that we
Yeah.
can see. But it's the radio wave that's basically clean. From what I understand, I think what I saw on that was that it's actually cleaning the bad. They're basically cooking the bad stuff out.
So my theory about it though is it's going to also kill off trichomes, and at the end of the day, what's valuable is smoking the trichomes. So say realistically, if they do take off any trichomes or terpenes off of it, then you're basically just smoking dead plant matter, which is probably something that has salts in it, probably has all these different things in it that might not fully be killed off. So you're just
Yeah, you
smoking
definitely don't want that.
waste, huh?
I think you definitely don't want that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's basically just smoking waste. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, you just yeah.
it to me it's tragic because then they probably still aren't gonna really like reduce the price or anything. It's not gonna be labeled in a way where it's going to be noticeable. So it's gonna get mixed into the bunch of things that maybe weren't even manipulated, and it's going to just cause everything to be disregarded for some people, or the other people are just going to have this weird perception of what things are supposed to be.
Yeah.
So it just muddies the
Well,
water.
like you said, people got to learn for themselves.
Exactly.
Eventually you figure it out as you get older, and you start realizing that a lot of this stuff you really don't need.
Yeah, none of it.
Uh,
That's like the thing. It's like one of those things you have to. Well, not none of it. A lot of it you do need, but it's like through trial and error is like basically the best way of learning. It's like you see it with a lot of situations when it's gifted to them, it's much easier to disregard it. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. Like I say, you get if you earn it, you take care of it. You
Yes.
know, you're gonna want to take care of it, and if you have something invested in whatever it is you're building, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about time. because time is money.
It is. Yeah.
And so if you got your time invested in it, you should definitely learn all you can about it
And take it serious too. It's like
and
one of those things.
take it seriously. Yes, take it
Yeah.
seriously.
Because there's like one thing I've noticed through a lot of the different things that I've attempted to do, because I've definitely seen the cannabis is definitely my biggest passion through all these different projects that have led me to see that I don't have enough passion for those other ones to put up with the people who don't have the passion for it. You know what I mean? Because there is like
Oh yeah,
situations, like say for easy example, I was thinking I'm like maybe I should just try to be like a person who does videos like music videos and that if you're working with people who are not going to be motivated, if you're working with people who are a little bit lazy, it's going to be
yeah,
dreadful. The whole thing is like a whole it's the worst thing you could do when you're working with people in that type of lane where it's like you know what I mean? It's just dragging on because you're just sitting there
yeah.
just watching paint dry, basically. It's like
Yeah,
I'd rather be doing masonry work. I'd rather be doing anything else besides that where it's actually like you can get it all done within a time where it makes sense. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And
Well,
that
having a good team is really is
huge,
how a strong business is built.
yeah,
Nobody does it on their own.
huge. Yeah.
I was blessed with good people. My business partner, I've known since I'm a little older than he is.
Mm,
He's 46, I'm 49. So I knew him when he was 13 and I
wow.
was 16. I knew his brother, so I was always over his house. So it turns out me and his brother ended up becoming really good friends later on in life through high school. Well, not high school, but after high school. And just maybe 2, 3 years after high school, we got together and not 2, 3 years, when I was 18, 19, 20. I lose track of time. I was 23. So how long? 18, 19, 20, 5 years. So 5 years after I got out of high school, we started this business. And we've been rolling ever since. And the reason we've been rolling ever since is because we get along great. We don't argue. Like if something happens, we both of us are good strategic thinkers. So we understand that there's problems, and if a problem occurs, that there is never no yelling. It's always just how do we solve this? That's the first thing. It's how do we solve this? And that alone saves a lot of businesses because it really boils down to being able to do the job. I mean, most businesses have a great idea and they can do it, but it boils down to, like you said, having a team, being able to be consistent with that team or with whatever you're doing. Consistency, doing it good every day, not just once a week. Um, will make you successful. Another reason why I'm successful too is that our business runs 7 days a week. I'm going to retire early because I work 7 days a week. I don't take days off. Or I didn't.
I
Like my
assume
business,
I assume those 7 days a week you're doing it most hours of those days too. You're doing it the hours that you can throughout the time that you can like actually afford to do it. You know what I mean?
yeah, we were doing, I tell you this, I probably, I'm probably close to 3 million mile man now. I've probably put 3 million miles on my truck, but probably
Wow.
more than that. But it's not really about getting in the truck and making a delivery. It's about the consistency of being able to tell somebody, hey, I'm going to do it and I'm going to get it done by this time. The reason that I've always been able to do that, we have always been able to do that, is because we're both strategic thinkers. We always can put ahead a good time frame. And so if somebody calls me, hey, can you get this here? I'm immediately in my head going to go, I got this, this, and this. Can I get it there? Because if I can't, I'm not going to tell the dude that I can't.
Yes.
So when you promise somebody something, you better be able to do it. And what that in this business, in any business, 9/10 of it is just picking up the damn phone or answering the fucking email. I can't get anybody to answer an email most of the time, especially pick up a phone when I need some, like customer service. God damn, where did it go? You know what I mean?
Tragic because
So
like everyone wants to just text and stuff. I think like the best way of doing it is phone calls because it gets done quick, easy, and like
and
what
get your point across.
yes, you can actually understand like what it's on. And unfortunately now like things have become just way too automated and like kind of bizarre way where like it allows people to disassociate and not see things for what it really is. And it becomes very just strange, like the whole thing kind of becomes competitive in that type of way, in my opinion, where people start to really look at each other as competition versus allies.
Yeah. So competition is, you know, I love competition, but
It's a
I
healthy,
also love ally. I also like a good, like your ally is your competitor. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
yes,
You
yeah,
feed upon these people
yeah.
to do better. Yeah.
It should be, but there also should be a like a healthy level of respect given within that, like where you're still, no matter if you're competing, you're helping. It's like
Oh,
something
absolutely.
you're
Yeah,
only as good as your competition, to
that's
be
right.
honest. It's like if you're battling with these like weak people, then you are weak.
That's right.
So it's
You're
like
only as good as the people you can, if you want to be the best, you got to go up against the best.
exactly.
I mean, you can't go up against, if you're going to try and, be the best at whatever.
Yeah, so that's
But
why
yeah,
you
it's just
see
that simple. It's, it's,
it really is. It's something that is it's very it's tough though because the game has become so strange. It's become so strange, and it's hard to really get the message out there in any other way besides humor. And I said this earlier, I think I said this towards the beginning. I just really think that's the only way for a lot of these messages to get across. Like people are starting to take the whole game more serious because there's a lot of these different characters in the game that have these Instagram pages that are using humor in a very useful way,
yeah.
and it's credit to them. I definitely think it's a cool thing that they're able to do it, but it's also just something that is maybe because of just the whole social media thing. I think that like things they have to be digested in a quick and easy way, or it has to be humorous enough for them to stay entertained throughout the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. The attention span nowadays is not high. It's not
No.
long.
That's why like with like the whole thing that I'm doing, basically doing some of it audio only. I know that I'm playing the long game. It's not going to be an overnight success. It's never going to be that. It won't make sense to people today or tomorrow, but it's going to make sense to people over time if they give me enough time to explain. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. You got a good head on your shoulder. How old are you?
I'm 25.
Yeah, man. You're gonna be fine, dude. You got a good head on your shoulder. What do you do for a living?
At the moment, I'm in between jobs. Actually, that's like why I'm like trying to do as much content as I can for like
I
the
got you.
I have a case at the moment that has kind of prevented me from being able to get like a job that's actually in like the situation that I want. So it's like sort of like right now I can only really use this time in this way. You know what I mean? I have to use
All
it
right.
as wisely as I can, and like I
Absolutely.
think like doing some like long-term moves right now will be very beneficial, but things definitely won't be easy like this. So it is what it is.
It's never easy, my friend. Nothing in
Exactly.
life
It's not
that's
supposed to
worth
be.
having is easy.
But that's why you appreciate it when you get it.
That's exactly right.
You
So
know what I mean?
you got a good head on your shoulders, man. So you're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, I appreciate
And
that.
in whatever you do, it doesn't matter what you do.
Yes.
As long as you stay grounded, uh, think before you act. before you speak, you're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, it's one thing I've definitely had to learn, and it's a blessing to have these moments, especially doing these types of things, because it's just a lesson to be learned each time I get to hear someone else's experience. I get to relate it to mine, see how they were able to either get through it or how they like even like got into it, which leads me to see that I can maneuver around those scenarios if I haven't lived through that yet. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's one of those things you learn over time, that it's like you don't have to continue to go through bad things to be able to keep learning. There's situations that you can be presented through other people's lessons, and that is very wise if you're able to use that as an experience when someone else is speaking to you, because there's a lot of moments we kind of just disassociate. We zone out when people are speaking and whatnot. And it's one of those things you just have to listen. You have to allow people the time to
Yeah.
actually speak. You have to allow people to say what they have to say, because you really never know what someone's going to say. Judging a book by its cover and trying to act like you know what someone else is thinking is just the most bizarre thing in my thoughts. It's like one of those things, it's like you never know what's going on in someone else's brain, so it's like if you allow them enough time to speak, they have the chance to tell you things that you could be amazed with. So it's just a blessing to be able to have this mindset now, because I am able to use it in a way that could be very beneficial in the future. So I just have to keep staying consistent and use it properly.
Well, if I can, like I said, and I'll stress it till the day I die, that if you can learn strategic thinking, which it sounds like you already, you're probably born with it. You just need to, I would say, hone in your skills
Yes.
because it is a skill. It is a skill.
It is.
Uh,
It's definitely a complicated one that takes a lot of life experiences to be able to analyze and be able to see it for what it is. It's one of those things that a lot of people are. I think a lot of people that I've spoken to who are very religious will act like they are being told by God, or they're being somehow like gifted these
exactly.
thoughts or whatever. But it's technically what
Exactly.
it is just seeing things for what it could be, and it is
It's
exactly
foresight.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
You see,
Foresight.
it's like what are the possibilities of it going wrong? Boom. That's a chance. You know what I mean? It's like it's huge to be able to self-reflect in those moments and see that, but it obviously takes a lot of either terrible moments or like just psychedelic moments that kind of lead you to that. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean because I've avoided so many accidents on the highway just because I could see what was coming
Yes.
before they did it. You know what I
And
mean?
there's so many people who will just kind of just only be looking off into the almost like zoned out, just focused on this one thing in front of them because they think that's all they have to do. You know what I mean? And that is a great
Oh
example
yeah.
of that's a great example saying like that, because like in the bigger picture it's like it's easy to zone in and put all your eggs in one basket, but there's so many million things that could happen, and it's good to be prepared.
Yeah, when I like I said, when I'm driving down the highway, I know the possibility. I've seen it. I've seen like lives be lost in front of my face. Okay, that's that's something you don't want to witness, but it's something that happens almost every day on the highway. You know what I mean? And if you don't realize that by now, then you're probably gonna. Good luck to you. That's all I'm gonna
Yeah.
say because it's gotten so bad out here right now. It's where everybody's on the phone,
Every
nobody's paying attention.
people are
The
recording
car,
themselves driving, like going through like driving extremely fast. Like it's insane because like
oh, it's insane, dude. Crazy. I'm just like,
people.
dude. I mean, I used to be a little crazy. I ain't gonna lie. When I was young,
I've never really
but
been
the
like crazy in that way. I've always been like
times have changed.
controlled.
Times have changed. Yeah, the
Yeah.
cars are so much faster.
Yeah, I've always been like
Uh,
scared. I've not like I've kind of been always scared to die in that type of way. I've never been like thrilled by that.
well, that's what I was getting at. Like, I'm so scared now when I drive on the highway. I'm like, I'm analyzing. I'm like literally. trying to see the future. I'm literally trying to foresee. Like I see this lady, she's two cars up ahead of me. She's on the phone. I see her kid climbing around the back seat. I'm automatically going to say, all right, I'm backing off because this lady here or this person here is probably going to do something stupid.
Yeah.
And sure enough, thankfully I back off because there she goes, woo, off in the ditch. You know what I mean? It's like, those things, those types of that awareness, that foresight. See, that's the skill part. Like just being aware of it, like being in the moment and analyzing your surroundings and seeing like, okay, well, this dude over here has got a trench coat on and it's 100 degrees outside.
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
mean, these little things it isn't rocket science.
Yeah, like someone's trying to call you over, but and to, like you know what I mean. People, there's some situations where people will, they bait themselves into it because they want to be the good guy. They want to be the person who isn't paranoid or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like
Yep.
a little bit of paranoia will keep you alive. A lot of paranoia will definitely make you so you're not able to do anything. But it's like one of those things. It's the balance of life. You have to be able to figure out the balance of these situations, the balance of using cannabis to help you, not to hurt you, or like
Yeah, I
using.
couldn't have said it better myself. It's balance.
Mhm.
It's
Yes,
all about balance. Soil balance, biology, life, everything. It all connects.
it is. It everything exactly what you were saying with your whole garden is it's all basically like a human's body in a way. It's all if one piece is missing, it's gonna all die. Basically, almost is what I took from what you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, you're going to have disease. You're
Yes,
going to have problems if you don't have all the nutrient, all the stuff that your body needs. This is where disease comes into play.
yeah,
This is why everybody in America has disease because the food has no nutrient in it
exactly. It's
because
all
we've
fucking
stuffed it
garbage.
all up.
And it's all built up in these people's stomachs, and it's all creating these different issues that are
Yep.
unresolvable to people at this moment because it's more useful to keep them as the patient, keep them as the tool to make money. And
Yeah. Could you imagine? Could you imagine going to the doctor and the doctor said, "Hey, you know what? I could give you this, this, and this. You're gonna pay me $1,200 a month. Your insurance, or I could just give you some lactic acid bacteria, some lactobacillus. You could eat well. You can just go over here and go to the farmer's market, and here's
time
a
to a
list.
gym.
Here, here's a list or of recipes. Okay,
Hmm.
here's the food. Here's what you drink. Okay. And then you take these probiotics for 6 months and do this exercise regimen. And I guarantee you all your troubles go away.
Exactly. It's like realistically, a lot of these people would be resolved if they went to a farmer's market and got a bike instead of a car. Because like a lot
Yeah.
of these people nowadays, it's like if you're not using like this car to actually get you to point A and point B, if you're using it more just for convenience factor, you know what I mean? Like there's some people who use a truck to be able to get the job done. There's also
Sure.
some people who take themselves just to go get fast food and then go back and watch a movie. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
you
like
mean buy a $80,000 truck that you got, $50,000 worth of electronics and you really only need a $10,000 truck that has
yeah.
wheels and an engine and a muffler?
And well, and there's sometimes these guys have these big trucks and they haven't been able to. They don't do any like work with it. You know what I mean? It's all
No,
for
no,
aesthetics,
yeah,
and
they
it's
just
like
jack it up, put some wheels on it, and look pretty.
yeah,
I
it's
know.
it's literally just like
Is it
it's like
everywhere
having
around here?
it's you know what I mean? It's like a big cowboy hat type thing. It's like people do these different things to look cool, but it's led us to chaos and it's led us to destruction. And that's why at the end of the day, like the capitalism in America has definitely been great for people's pockets, but it's been detrimental to people's psychology. It's been very detrimental to people's understanding of how to even communicate with one another because people nowadays are looking at everyone as a way to make money. They're looking at these different people as tools in order to build them up the ladder. You know what I mean? And for all greater good, that is useful. It's something that has to be done, but it has to be done in a way that's actually beneficial to all parties. It has to be beneficial to everyone in the end. It has to be something that makes sense. It can't just be something that
Yeah,
is
that's a tough, probably something that's going to be debated for eternity.
yeah. It is
Because
amazing though.
people just can't come to, that's why a lot of these homesteaders that I listen to, at a certain point in your life, how far do you go? You know what I mean? How far in your life how much time do you waste basically convincing somebody else to do it your way versus just
Just
going,
doing that.
forgetting that and just going and living your life the way you want and
Yeah.
fuck everybody else
Yeah.
because they're not listening anyway.
It's tough though. It's tough because eventually things can go wrong for you too if this country goes to shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like
you ain't lying.
if this country fully goes in the way that it's headed, it is very possible things could very much be detrimental to even these homesteaders. Like these homesteaders are gonna be fucked because they're gonna be maybe the last ones to find out if they're really disconnected. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why like a lot of these homesteaders are preppers,
Yes,
and they don't
true.
give a shit if they don't. The whole goddamn place could burn down. What they're not thinking of is that there are way too many people for
Yeah,
you to even think that
you're gonna fight them all
you're
off.
going to kill everybody that's coming for your shit.
Exactly. There's countries coming. It's like fucking
Yeah, you're not safe in your bunker, bro. I'm
no.
telling you.
Once it gets infiltrated to the level that it's like
It's
secured
over.
enough, then the whole country is coming and taking it because this is a better
Yeah.
area for living than the Middle East or any of these areas that are potentially a hazardous problem for us in today's time. So it's like it's common sense at the end of the day. It's like it's sad, but it's scary. So it's
It
like
is, and I told my dad, yeah, my dad's crazy, but he's anyway. The way I can tell you, like when I go over there, all he does is basically talk about politics and
really.
how the government's doing this and how these people are doing that. And I was like, Dad, you're 75 years old, bro.
Can
75 years old. Okay. Now think about
you hear me?
hey,
Yeah, can you hear me?
this isn't what life's about.
True.
You know what I mean? This watching news, watching politics, doing all this other stuff. This is not what life's about. Life's about, to me, in my opinion, is about being free, being able to do what you want to do, and set your life up the way you want it to be, and hopefully things work out in your way. A lot of times it don't, but hopefully it does, and hopefully the government and people let you live the way you want to live. But to me, being happy, having a family, and just doing, you know, exactly that, being kind to others, being happy, having some friends, and living the life out.
True.
Pop some kids out, have them do that, continue on the cycle if you want to. But for me, and I don't have kids, so all I want to do is influence, like not influence. I want to, what do you call it? Shit? Just had it in my
Inspire.
head. Inspire. I want to inspire people to realize that we're all connected. We're all one. These everything that you see, it really changed my. It's like an acid trip. Once I started learning all this stuff, your view changes. Like I
Yeah.
see trees differently. I see bushes differently. I see the soil differently.
You start to see
You know
the
what I mean?
trees alive.
Yes, it's alive. Like it
Yes.
is literally like those tree huggers that I used to make fun of were right.
There. Well, sort of. To some certain extent, yes, definitely. Like they, if
To
you,
some, exactly. Some of them are crazy. Most of them knew that, hey, this tree is alive. This tree is
yeah,
this tree is alive. It does serve a purpose. And if you take them all away, guess what happens?
death.
We go away.
Yes.
Eventually we all go away if you take the life away. So
Exactly.
it's
That's
pretty.
like why when you see like certain areas where there isn't a lot of trees, I'm always curious on if that's like the reason why it's always such like a frustrated community of people. You know what I mean? Like the people don't seem to be super happy. And I
Because
feel
they
like
don't have any life around them.
yes, it's all just
Yeah.
kind of only death almost.
Yeah, just looking at bare soil all day long is death.
Yeah. It's like just like not just that, but then you also are seeing death like constantly through just like people. It's just like the whole thing is so fucking you need nature around you. You need the earth around you to give you that humbleness of seeing things for what it is and being able to see things that are obvious. And I
Maybe
think
that's why some of us feel so comfortable in the woods.
yeah. I love the
You
words.
know?
That's like it's that sense of actual peace when you're in
Yeah,
nature. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
But let me
Well, I
ask
hate
you
to cut you
this.
off, man. I got to get going here. The wife just pulled up in the driveway.
Oh yeah, I definitely. If you ever in the future have time, and if you ever have anything that you would like to speak about, I would love to do another one, like do a video form one in the future. But this was
Dude,
a
you hit me
really
up
cool one.
anytime you want, Kevin. Kevin, right?
Yeah, I
You
very much
hit me up
appreciate your time.
anytime you want, man. Hit me up anytime you want, and we'll do a video, talk, whatever you want to do, man.
Perfect.
Let's
Yes,
do it.
this was fun to do. I definitely appreciate your time.
Not a problem, buddy.
Definitely have a good one. Have a nice day.
All right, man. Bye bye.
Peace.